to lead the Skol chant and sound the Yeller horn, please welcome the 31st Adjutant General of the Minnesota National Guard, Major General John Jensen.
Well, hello, this is John Randall, Minnesota Vikings legend, and it is my pleasure to say, Minnesota Vikings fans uncensored, are you ready? Keith, get your people up. Let's go. Skol, 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 baby. Let's go.
Hello, Minnesota Viking fans. Welcome to the Let's Go show and week 31 of the offseason. I'm Fish. Wait, no, I'm Keith. With me, I got Mr. Positivity, Cody Bowden. He who greets with smoke, Skullful Shack. And a new but familiar face, Timu Fish, also known as David Rinaldi. Now, if you notice, Michael Fish is not on tonight. He's taking the night off. He's getting some rest. He'll be back with us next week. So we are 34 days away for some real football. Today started some fake football. Have you guys been watching that game at all?
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't seen a lick of it. But 34 days away for some real football. Any players come to mind when you think of that number 34? Training camp is here. Starting to smell like football. Unfortunately, there's a bit of stench within the Vikings organization with a quarterback competition going on. Should KLC just go ahead and name the damn starter?
Yes.
Outside of the quarterbacks, our 2026 draft class is starting to steal the show. What else have we noticed in camp? Tonight, we're going to try to skol with the enemy and get some off-season perspective from some Green Bay Packer fans. And let me just tell you guys right now, it was very hard trying to get Packer fans to come on the show, which is crazy. Through all the times that we've done Skolling with the Enemy, never had a problem getting other teams to come on. Even Packer fans last year, they were able to come on. But finding Packer fans that were willing to come on the show, not that easy. I think we do have one, maybe two. We'll see when that time comes. But before we get into all that, why don't we break this ice? In the spirit of training camp going on, fellas, who is one Vikings draft pick outside the first round, or doesn't even have to be a draft pick? Just who is one player that you got excited about in camp because maybe they were showing out a bit, they were, getting a lot of hype, but then when push came to shove, they just never really made it.
I'll start off.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, David.
Well, I got to go with a Caleb Evans, Cody's
Ooh.
favorite player.
Cody's mad.
I was wrong on a Caleb Evans, 6'2", still in the NFL. I will point out with Carolina, but he never panned out. So yeah, it was kind of sad to see him not make it. And then I had to bow down to Cody because he told me he sucked, and he was right.
I didn't remember. Yeah. I had to drink every time that was brought up.
At least he showed spurts. It was just that rookie year to the years after, it was like downward trajectory. I don't know what happened to him. The guy I go with is Wyatt Davis from Ohio State, the guard. I remember him being one of the top guards in college. I'm like, yes, we got a guard in the third round. We can get rid of these bum-ass guards and the full Tahi, and I can't even think of the 12 guards Cody used to name about who our starting guards were for the last 5 years. So once we finally got Wyatt Davis, I'm like, he could come in, start. I don't even think he actually started an NFL game for us. And I was like, well, the scouting shit's harder than I thought.
So that's a good one. I think there was actually a lot of hype around him, and it's like, oh, the Vikings got a steal on this one, and yeah, forget never getting a start. I don't think he ever got into a game. And Skol Mafia, thank you for that. We appreciate that. Starting us off right. Cody, I'm gonna give you a minute to regather yourself, and I'm gonna go ahead and go with mine. And mine is a 7th round draft pick from the 2012 draft. Now, this guy got a lot of hype, and it came because of one preseason game. He had 2 pick sixes, back-to-back snaps. Linebacker, Audi Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like, he just, looked like he was going to fit the mold, and, it wasn't just the 2 interceptions. Like, he was out there running around covering the field, looked like a Vikings linebacker. It's like, okay, this is the next one. Like, he's going to be, the next man up at the linebacker position. We've had a lot of good linebackers throughout our history, and it's like, this guy's going to be one of those solid ones where it's like he's not like necessarily a household name, but to Viking fans, he's special. That never really panned out. He kind of, hung around for a couple seasons as a special teamer, but never really got, into the action at the linebacker position. So he was one of those guys that, had a great preseason and good camp, but just never quite made it.
Hype was real with him too, man. It was real.
And he seemed like he had it all.
Old Shaq took my dude earlier, Wyatt Davis. I thought he was going to be the guy. The injury during the bowl game really took him out, and that's why he probably dropped. And then we drafted Donovan Jackson. I was like, oh, man, hopefully he's not like another Ohio State guard we drafted back in the day. But I'm going to go with Olabisi Johnson. I think that's a good one to pick out here because he's supposed to be that number 3 guy, and he just never lived up to it, never got brought into it. Then you see the emergence of Adam Thielen going off for 1,500 yards or something like that one year. So it's definitely BC Johnson, a guy that never could make it and then got hurt during training camp, and it was just over with from there. So,
I mean, he was good enough to get the start over Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it took an injury to BZ for Justin Jefferson to really get out there. What if BZ never got injured? We might not have the coldest first ever touchdown in NFL history.
Facts. Funniest thing, I remember when I was still part of my Bleacher Report group, and it was telling me before the draft, it was like they said to me, we don't need a receiver. We got Olabisi, and he's looking real prime to be a great NFL receiver. And then we drafted Justin Jefferson. I was like, well, the rest is history. After Justin Jefferson scored that touchdown against the Titans, I don't know what happened to BC.
Another in a line of wide receiver 3s that just never really panned out.
Yeah, wide receiver 23. But the funny thing about BZ Johnson is we actually drafted a wide receiver the round before we took BZ, and that was Dylan Mitchell out of Oregon. And that was actually a guy that I was actually hyped about. I didn't, really watch much college football, but when we drafted him, I went and started watching his highlight films and started reading up on him. I was like, oh man, the Vikings might have got a steal here. I don't think he even ended up making the team.
Do you know another guy? Irv Smith Jr. out of Alabama.
That was the same draft.
Yeah, it blows my mind now. I just think
I was gonna use that one. That one was too easy though. That one was too easy. I wanted to go a little deeper.
I remember fans was like, "We're wasting Irv Smith Jr. Get rid of Kyle Rudolph." Once you got rid of Kyle Rudolph, I remember Irv Smith Jr. playing that many games out there.
When he dropped that first preseason catch, and it was like, oh shit.
Honorable mention for me is Cameron Smith from USC, middle linebacker. We drafted him in the 4th round, and I thought he was actually going to be that guy. He was one of those linebackers, kind of like Luke Kuechly, who went to the Hall of Fame. He had it more mental, so he read the game from a mental aspect. He wasn't physically imposing. He just was always around the ball. But now he just posts. He does photography for Twitter, and he'd be at Vikings training camp posting catfish video reels of old practice film.
There actually was a USC player that I was somewhat excited about when we drafted him, and I don't think he ever took a snap for us either. John David.
Don't say
Booty.
Oh, John David.
it. Don't say it.
I thought maybe. I mean, he was pretty damn good at USC during those years when USC was actually pretty good. I'll never say that again. All right. Well, like I said, we are 34 days away from some real football, some Wednesday night football. Are you ready? Less than 40 days away. And since we're 34 days away, let's look at some players that have worn the number 34 for the Vikings. No graphic today, didn't have time. But the first one, that really stands out to wear the number 34. And I'm glad you're here, Rinaldi, for this one. Ricky Young, running back from 1978 to 1983, played 6 seasons with the Vikings. 3,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, but was more impressive was he had 292 receptions and 14 touchdowns in his 6 seasons with the Vikings, including 88 in 1978, which those 88 receptions led all NFL players. So a running back led the league in receiving that year, and it was Ricky Young with 88. Never missed a game in his 9-year career. His first 3 were with the Chargers, the last 6 with the Vikings. He retired with 408 receptions, which at the time was a record for NFL running backs. The game's done changed, so 408 is not quite cutting it. You remember him at all, Rinaldi?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the greatest Vikings teams. It was really the origin of the NFC North division. No, there was no good team in the NFC Central at the time. Everybody was like 9-8. But with the thing about him, he was kind of like he was the Tamu Chuck Foreman. Like he was good out of the backfield, couldn't run a lick like Chuck could. He was a good back. Don't get me wrong. But he wasn't gonna lead you to glory, and honestly, I think at the time he was our superstar. I mean, I can't even think of another, like Tommy Kramer was a quarterback. I can't even think. Ahmad Rashad might have been a wide receiver. Sammy White was gone at that point. He was really I think our star guy, and he wasn't really quite a star. Really good running back, had a lot going on. Not a workhorse, not the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land, and they didn't.
Yeah, he seemed more like he was a receiving back. Like I know of the name. Obviously, I mean he retired the year after I was born, so I never really saw him play.
Yeah. I mean,
however,
next
the next one I did get to see play, and that's Herschel Walker, who actually might be the most. That might be the most infamous name in Minnesota Vikings history, and it's really not his fault. Played 42 games for the Vikings, rushed for 2,264 yards, which 4.1 average, 20 touchdowns, had another 700 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. Walker wasn't terrible for the Vikings, but it doesn't matter because his name can't be said without thinking about the trade. So Vikings traded 5 players and 3 picks to the Cowboys for Walker. And on the surface, it really wasn't that bad. It was a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a 6th-round pick. But what really messed things up was for the 5 players the Vikings sent to Dallas, they all had clauses in their contract that if they were to get cut by the Cowboys, they would receive draft picks from the Vikings. So they would just say, you know what? They cut all 5 of them. And 2 of those players ended up getting them first-round picks from the Vikings. So now they ended up with 3 first-rounders, 3 second-rounders, a 3rd, and a 6th-rounder. And those picks turned into players like Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, Darren Woodson, which, led them to Super Bowl championships in the 90s. So would you guys agree that Herschel Walker is kind of the most infamous name in Minnesota Vikings history? And I'm not really putting a knock on him. It's just, is there like a dirtier name?
Yes.
Go for it. Don't say it. Never mind. Cody?
No. Wait. You're basically the only team in the NFL's history to give another team a dynasty. That's facts. Like you get the only team to give another team a dynasty. No one traded anything to the Patriots to give them the dynasty. You know, like we did it to the Cowboys, and what they got out of it is some of the guys that we could have drafted with those picks, like maybe possibly an Emmitt Smith on this team instead of Herschel Walker. So yeah, no one else is the most dirtiest name according to that kind of section of it in the NFL.
You can say the Bills gave the Chiefs a dynasty when they traded back and gave them Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, they didn't give them a haul of picks that they went and like built a team around. Like they made a draft day trade and traded up. So no, I wouldn't say that's the same thing. So Rinaldi, obviously, you know, I remember him playing, but I don't remember the trade. I was too young for that. These two guys definitely were too young for that. Do you remember what it was like around that time when the trade was actually made?
Yeah, man, the whole first year. I mean, at first, I think I was excited as hell. It felt like we were only one running back away. We got rid of Darren Nelson in the trade. You get Herschel Walker for Darren Nelson. We're going to the fucking Super Bowl, bro. I mean, that's honestly what it felt like. And through that whole year, and it's only I think it was game 5. So it was the rest of that year. I think everybody had super, super high expectations. It's just that he didn't fit the system. I don't even know how it worked out, but I don't know if he was like the kind of running back that didn't fit in the system that we had. But I don't think I know his average per attempt went down year after year after year, but I think he still had some juice left. I just don't think it was a fit for the Vikings. And then when all those draft picks started coming in, it was really easy in retrospect to look at it like a Sunday morning quarterback. But honestly, that whole first year, I think everybody was pretty optimistic about it. So it's not like, oh my God, what'd they do? It wasn't like getting on Let's Skol and bitching about, you know, Kwesi Dolphin-Mensah making a stupid trade. It wasn't like that at all. It was people were pretty high on it actually at the time.
So that's pretty much like if we was to make a trade for Jahmyr Gibbs, right? And we gave a bunch of like, I say first, third, fifth. I'm pretty sure that's what it would take to get Gibbs or Bijan Robinson.
Yeah,
because Herschel Walker was the top running back at the time.
The initial trade, like I said, wasn't bad. I mean, it was crazy. They gave away 5 players and 3 picks, but what was bad was the clauses they had on all those players where it's like, if you cut them, then you get picks from us. And 2 of those cuts ended up being first rounders. So we lost 3 first round picks in that whole thing. And I don't know what they were thinking with that clause. We're a rebuilding football team. Do we want these old veterans or do we want to cut them and get some early draft capital?
And wasn't Herschel Walker like one of the highest paid players in the NFL too? And we took on that at the same time.
I don't know what his contract was, but I just know, like, yeah, I guess the Cowboys weren't doing too well all the time, but every year that he played for the Cowboys, his yards per carry went down, and he got all the way down to like almost 3 yards per carry, and the Vikings like, let's do it, time to pounce.
In his defense, I would say the Cowboys were terrible in those days. They were like 9-20 or something with him. They were terrible.
And then the most recent well-known player to wear number 34, safety from 2011 to 2019, Andrew Sendejo, make football violent again.
Hell yeah.
Now, he worked his way up from a special team player to a defensive starter, really known for his physical and aggressive nature, the way he would just throw his body into tackles, you know, reckless abandonment for his body or anyone around him, earned him the name the Human Missile. And he was really a solid complementary player to Harrison Smith. Those two back there put fear in wide receivers. Sendejo played 99 games for the Vikings with 60 starts. He had 387 tackles, 8 interceptions, and shockingly, for as physical as a tackler he was, only 1 forced fumble. I feel like the Vikings defense now could really use a safety like Sendejo in 2026. You guys agree with that?
Hell yeah.
I don't think his play style will work with these current rules.
No.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. You for a player like that, you know that you're going to get some penalties.
Yeah,
but you're also going to intimidate people from like going over the middle too.
Yeah, I don't know if he works in. He has to be a really smart player to be in B-Flow's system with how complex. I don't think he's that smart of a player in this system.
No, I agree with that, but I would also say his attitude was as much of what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
and I gotta say, I think Demings almost has that vibe to him a little bit. I mean, he's like John, like this, like he used to, man. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, the guy lasted for 8 years, and I mean, Zimmer was a defensive coach, so I don't know about that. I think
it was what, 2018 when they changed the rules for defensive tackling. When they did the full overhaul, and like they said, you can't lead with your head or shoulder to the neck or shoulder area. You got to make a new form tackle.
I mean, Harrison Smith took penalties. But he still ended up being fine. Harrison Smith got ejected from games.
Yeah, but I'm saying
the Vikings can use some nastiness on our defense.
Sendejo was headhunting more than Harrison Smith.
I'm saying could just use some nastiness. What's up, Angel? All right, so that's our number of the day. Whoa. Let's get into some training camp talk. And obviously the quarterbacks are the dominant topic with the quarterback battle that's going on, quarterback battle. Through the first couple of days, it sounded like JJ McCarthy had a slight edge. And then last Saturday's practice, it all flipped to Kyler Murray, where it was the first open session with fans. And all we saw was people coming on social media talking about how good Kyler Murray looked and how bad JJ McCarthy looked. Murray kind of reminded everyone why he's a former number 1 pick, putting together stretches, going 8 for 8, making deep connections with Justin Jefferson, and showing like his off-script playmaking ability. Those in attendance were, they're really talking up Kyler Murray. All the podcasters that were there, which I'm very jealous of them, they're pointing out how great Kyler looked and how much JJ McCarthy struggled. What are your guys' takeaway in this quarterback battle through 6-7 days of training camp practices?
My takeaway is pretty much, I kind of figured, I remember we talked about it earlier. I'm glad KOC made it an open competition, but just because it's an open competition doesn't mean it's a fair competition. Kyler Murray talent and experience is way more than what JJ McCarthy has been dealing with. He's not competing with Brosma and Carson Wentz, who has a weak experience into the offensive system. So right now, JJ McCarthy's seeing the level he has to be, and Kyler Murray's playing like he's trying to earn himself a contract. So right now we're in a good spot. I'll say it's pretty much going how I thought it would, and we got to see where it goes from there. At this point, I say KOC needs to name the starter, Kyler Murray, and then JJ McCarthy got to do everything in his power to get himself a second contract and prove that he deserves to start in the NFL. We can't just give him the job because, we drafted him. We traded a 4th and a 5th to move up 1 spot. He has to earn a starting spot, and his easiest chance to do that is with us, because I'm pretty sure no other team is going to give him a fair starting chance.
No, definitely not. What about you, Cody? What are your takeaways, and have either of these guys given you any bit of confidence?
So, listening to how Kyler was struggling in the OTAs and the first couple of days of camp, and then that day 4 came around, it got me thinking how, the media guys that are out there, they're saying, it's Kyler Murray's really struggling out here, and Jay McCarthy's doing this. And it's the first time that fans got to actually watch the training camp with their own eyes and see it for their own selves. And they're like, wait, what were they talking about the past couple of days of training camp? Kyler Murray's looking awesome right here. So it gets me thinking, maybe KOC did do the right move. Do I think Murray's a fit in the offense? Just like what Fish was saying, probably not. But is it going to be exciting to watch? 100%. McCarthy, it just seems like he's not ready yet. All right. In my opinion, he's just not there yet. And I wish the injuries didn't happen to him, because maybe he would have been ready this year without those injuries. It's not enough time for him. Half your career so far before that 5th-year option is wiped out. So it sucks for him. But the takeaway from it is he is developing. He is developing, and it's showing out there on the field. He's not at that development point to where he can start in the National Football League and be successful. That is going to be my takeaway for it.
What about you, Rinaldi? Is Kyler running away with this thing, or is it, people just kind of getting excited in August?
Yeah, I can't say that based on talking heads giving us their interpretation of what's going on. We don't know what passes they're throwing or any of that. It certainly sounds like, if you do listen to them, that Kyler's the guy. Having said that, this is what we get as Viking fans for another era of drafting or going after a quarterback. He's the youngest quarterback in the league when we drafted him. He was the youngest quarterback in the league last year, and if he starts this year, guess what he's going to be? The youngest quarterback in the league. It puts us in a position in year three. Year three, you got to make a decision on whether you're gonna pick up his 5th year contract at the end of the season. We're gonna be in a position where if we don't trade him, he ain't gonna be worth crap in 2020 at the end of the season. There's a lot of problems we got going on, and if Kyler balls out, what are we gonna do? We're gonna pay Kyler, or we're gonna pay McCarthy, who hasn't proven anything. It's almost worse than the Jordan Love situation, and we didn't even want to create it. At least the Packers decided to create that. We got pushed into this corner, and it ain't a good place to be honest with you. I'm rooting for whoever wins the competition to kick ass. I don't care who wins, and let's go get him. And I was one of the biggest McCarthy fans going into this thing, so I'm not giving up on him, but I think he's a year or two away. We made a mistake, and we got to move on from it. That's where I leave it.
We did make a mistake. We went out and signed Kyler Murray. That was the mistake. Because I'm not saying that Kyler Murray won't win us a couple more games than maybe JJ McCarthy would, but at what cost is that going to come at? Like we're going to get off the path of developing our own quarterback. And do you really think that if Kyler Murray ends up the starting quarterback, and let's say he has a healthy season, but we win 10 games, lose in the first round, I mean, do you think they're going to end up paying Kyler Murray? Do you think JJ McCarthy is going to stick around?
No. Yeah.
No. I think they get, usually when you bring in a veteran quarterback, a proven veteran quarterback, it's at that 3rd-year mark, and you did not pick up that 5th-year option on that rookie quarterback. And that's when you bring the competition in. This tells me right now, I think they gave up on JJ McCarthy this year.
I do too.
Bringing him in early. It's too early to bring in a quarterback like Kyler Murray right now. If it was past May and we said, no, we're not picking up the 5th-year option, that's when you bring in that veteran quarterback. All right, here, earn your place. I think they did it too early. So I don't think McCarthy's part of this team.
They did it too early because he was so freaking cheap. I mean, it was.
That's the problem.
I know.
Had Kyler Murray been $20 million, I don't think they signed him.
He wouldn't be here. I guarantee
you. We'd literally be stuck with JJ McCarthy and Carson Wentz competing for QB1. That's what we would be stuck with.
I'd rather just let JJ McCarthy do it, and if we suck, then we know. And the quarterback-rich draft, we're in play.
Yeah, that's what should happen.
It's more to that than just a quarterback-rich draft. That means we're going to have to get rid of a lot of players because they're not going to want us to wait for another quarterback, and then hopefully he's good. Justin Jefferson is going to want to leave. Jordan Addison is going to want to leave. Darisaw might want to leave. We might have to get rid of a lot of players.
I mean, you're talking about some players that got some pretty hefty contracts that ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
How much? So they're not going anywhere.
Well, there's that, and the roster's too good anyway. Even if McCarthy started, we didn't sign Murray. He was 6-4 with a 26 offensive lineman changes, and I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't a disaster as far as a win-loss record. We're still not going to pick top 10, even with McCarthy starting, even with him doing poorly. The roster's too good. That's the problem. We put ourselves in a corner again. We're stuck in another purgatory of freaking quarterbacks. It's just our lives.
But the only one who can get JJ McCarthy a starting job is JJ McCarthy. He gotta learn. He gotta slow the NFL down for him. And if he don't slow it down, he's never gonna start for us. KLC's offense is already too complex. A lot of coaches might dumb it down and he might look good, but at the end of the day, his goal should be to win a Super Bowl. I know a lot of quarterbacks don't win a Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, each NFL team should have that mindset that they're trying to win a Super Bowl. So if you can't run a complex offense, it's kind of like, what are we doing here, JJ?
And it feels like every time you watch him come out here in the practice, in the videos that we've seen, it feels like he's unsure of himself. McCarthy out there, he's unsure when to pull that, and that's because he hasn't played enough games. If he was there for that first year and then missing how many games last year, he missed half his career so far. Out of 3 years, he's gone for a year and a half. So it's if he was there for those games, I think we'd be a different story. He'd be progressed nicely. He'd be there. And it won't be like he's not sure of himself. He's not consistent. Those things are a factor when you don't play football. And that's exactly what happened to McCarthy, in my opinion.
It's kind of like he's still playing like a rookie, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about Kyler Murray not seeming like a fit for KOC's offense. Do you think, the fans are kind of ignoring that fact because of Kyler Murray's star power?
Yeah, and a little bit. And it's exciting to see a quarterback roll out, throw off 1 foot. Or what did he do in the last camp? He threw a moon ball to Jefferson, and Jefferson mossed 2 dudes, right? But if you look at it, it was exciting because there was 4 different defensive linemen in Murray's face, and he just, you know what? Like we've all been trying to say with the quarterbacks, fucking Jefferson out there somewhere, and that's exactly what he did. And that's where like, oh yeah, he did it, and then I think it's exciting. It's an exciting player. So people overlooking that.
I mean, I would say it's like, Kyle Murray's still learning this offense. So like he's gonna obviously have growing pains because he only played for 2 teams. This is his 2nd team. He had dealt with a lot of offensive coordinator changes. I know Kirk Cousins dealt with the same thing when he was with us, but it takes growing pains. And then, it could be JJ McCarthy might struggle because B-flow defense is just that good. Like we're expecting way too much from JJ McCarthy because we want him to look elite against a B-flow defense. How many quarterbacks will look elite against this defense? B-flow don't slow it down just because it's practice and training camp. You could add Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold that.
Yeah. No, that they both talked about that. And B-flow doesn't really pull no punches. I mean, they're not out there hitting guys or tackling guys, but they're throwing all the looks at you. So, that is difficult. And I think both quarterbacks have struggled with that to a degree. I don't think that either has really separated themselves much. And, I'll kind of get into that a little bit more later, but it does seem like this battle, if you want to call it that, is kind of coming to an end. But with these quarterbacks, there's kind of another battle. And Cody, you wrote an article on LetSKOL.com about the quarterback battle, not the one on the field, but instead what's going on off the field with the fans. Give us a little bit of overview of what you wrote, and then I got some questions for you.
Yeah, so what I wrote is I was on multiple different podcasts in the comment section and just reading through the comment. You can read through our comments right now, right? And then there's some JJ love and there's some Murray love, right? And the article I wrote was, is there a split within the fan base because of this? And then Sporting News came out with a poll like, what were the stats of who want JJ McCarthy to start? What were the percentages of Murray to start? And it was like around 64 to 40 something percent. Then they're saying, hey, we want JJ McCarthy to be the future, and that's 70%. So people are taking on to that, and they don't want to hear that Murray's doing bad. They don't want to hear that McCarthy's doing bad. And it's almost like they're fighting against each other. And there's some nasty words being said out there while it's part of these podcasts. So I just want to create an article and to show different stats, analytics, and all that little different stuff and what's going around the league, what this person is saying, what that person is saying. And it was pretty fun to actually look into it and like, wow, there's this guy over here is a Vikings media guy. He's all pro JJ McCarthy, but now all of a sudden he's kind of changing his tone after watching what Murray does. So it's just an interesting little thing. Is it really splitting our fan base? And to me, reading through the comments, it kind of is a little bit.
So definitely people are picking sides. Now, do you think that the fans are choosing the quarterback they want, based off what they're seeing in camp, and they think that that's who's going to give our team the best chance to win, or are they just fighting to have their guy win so they could be right?
See, and that's another thing I mentioned in the comment was a lot of people with McCarthy, when he came in here and we drafted him, they wanted an I told you so moment. It's almost like they wanted him to fail. And if you're knowing as a fan, if your quarterback fails, your team fails. And your team fails, you're not going to be successful. You're not making the playoffs. So as a fan, do you really want that going forward? It should be what you said, Rinaldi. Who cares who starts? As long as they're successful in this franchise. That's how it should be. But yeah, I think it's with the training camp going around and the addition of Murray from the beginning, it created a pretty good split because I feel like you still had those guys that were anti-JJ McCarthy and the guys that were straight McCarthy. And what were the anti-JJ McCarthy guys going to choose? Carson Wentz? No. So like when Murray came over, it just threw all the fuel on the fire. And then that fan base just got a lot stronger, more solitude, more firepower and ammunition.
Cody, why do you think, and I don't mean to usurp your question, Keith, but why do you think people have a problem with McCarthy? I don't get it. He's a young, polite, forthgoing, honest sort of kid. What's the problem? Is it just because it was a Kwesi pick?
I don't think it's just a Kwesi pick. I think this franchise was born in what, 1961?
Yeah.
How many Super Bowls do we have?
Zippo.
0 Super Bowls, right? And that's the main goal of this whole situation is to get a Super Bowl. And it's just like with the Kirk Cousins thing. When we got him 2018, right? We lost. We didn't make the playoffs, and then that's when the hatred was put on that. And it was all of a sudden you got guys, hey, we should have kept Case Keenum. Probably should have kept Teddy Bridgewater. And it was just a giant fight with that. And it's just the same thing here. It's the lack of success in the postseason is what's going to fire people up. Like we were talking about Kirk Cousins getting him off the team after he threw a 4th and 8th check down during the Giants game, and people were just extremely anti Kirk Cousins after that. And we ended up re-signing him and people were just losing their minds. They wanted Jaron Hall to start. It's that situation. It has to come with success. And from last year, we didn't see the success, missed the playoffs, watched some pretty terrible quarterback play, saw some flashes, and that was it. That's enough fuel for this fan base to take to go against that quarterback.
So, Rinaldi, I used to say that Kirk Cousins was the most polarizing figure in Minnesota Vikings history, the most divisive player of the fan base. Has J.J. McCarthy overtaken that in just 2 years?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's the same thing I was talking about before. I was the biggest Kirk Cousins hater on the planet, especially in all the forums that are out there. But it was mostly because I didn't like the guy, believe it or not. I just didn't like his vibe, right? I don't get how you don't like J.J. McCarthy's vibe. I don't get it, and obviously Cousins is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy is to some degree, right? So I don't, I'm a little lost on the whole thing. I don't know why it's so divisive. I just don't.
Yeah, that 9 meme definitely didn't do him any favors.
No. And it was kind of tough last year, right? Watching McCarthy play, and you had to, and we were just backing him up until we were like, well, I can't really back him up anymore. This is where we're at, and we're pulling out. Well, he's 6-4 as a starter. He still threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Like they have the same amount of ammunition as if you were a JJ McCarthy, team McCarthy, right? If you're team McCarthy, the anti-team McCarthy or team Murray have the same amount of ammunition as you do. So they're always going to stalemate you into the fight of who you want at quarterback.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how long KOC keeps this up. I do think the mind has been made up, and I don't think it's going to be favorable for JJ McCarthy. And as Viking fans, I don't think it's going to be favorable for us because I do think JJ McCarthy does end up going to another team. Maybe he sits it out the rest of this season, and maybe gets to play a little bit of backup. But I think ultimately JJ McCarthy ends up going to another team, and I think he thrives. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the bummer to have to watch that for the next 10 years because it's going to happen.
It would be awesome if KOC named that starter before the first preseason game.
I think he will. I think he will. I think we're getting close to that. So, I mean, I think we'll know just by, even if he doesn't say it, whoever goes out there first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back. So I answered the question that Rinaldi asked about why people don't like JJ McCarthy. Is because no matter how likable the guy is, at the end of the day, you're going to see Vikings fans. If he's not looking good out there, the casuals and, just regular Vikings fans are going to boo him because at the end of the day, they don't care what type of player you are. They care about what you put out on the field. And last year, it was a mixed bag. Like, it was borderline atrocious. Like, he had some good moments, but at the end of the day, our offense, you can't say our offense looked like a regular KOC's offense. This is probably the worst offensive season that KOC had in his whole tenure with us. And that was mostly due to J.J. McCarthy, who was supposed to be our starting quarterback. Yeah, he got hurt, but those injuries, I feel like some of them could have been avoided. Because let's be real, he's a quarterback that's willing to do whatever it takes to win, but sometimes you gotta protect yourself because this is not Madden. You can't just be out here running people over and then trying to extend the play because at the end of the day, if you can't take the hits, you're not gonna have a long NFL career, and it's starting to show early for him.
Well, we'll see. When's that first preseason game? Is it next Saturday?
Yep, I should be going there.
Yeah.
Against the Giants.
We'll see how that goes. And I do think whoever takes the first snap is our starting quarterback week 1 against the Packers.
Brosman.
Yeah, that's the only way it's not is if KOC's like, nah, man, I'm keeping this to myself. Brosmer's taking the first set.
I think McCarthy.
That'd be something he would do. Something he would do.
I think McCarthy takes the start for our first preseason game.
I can see
takes the start week 1.
Yeah, I don't think it's
write it down.
I think that's going to tell us who the
put it
quarterback
on record.
is.
What's up, Jay? All right. Well, outside the quarterbacks, I think the most talked about group has actually been our rookies, and that's been really encouraging considering the drafts that we've had. You know, that haven't proven anything yet, but it's still nice to hear. Especially Caleb Banks and Dominique Orange. They've been getting those first-team rotational snaps, and I think we're really hoping that those guys end up day one starters together with Jalen Redmond. I think that we just all want to see that defensive line. And those two have been attached at the hip, on and off the field. Like, they're building a great connection. Like, this is awesome to see, and it's something that, you know, we could see for a long time. Orange did miss a practice due to some undisclosed issue, but did return the next day, and he's been splitting time with LDR. But the real star has been Caleb Banks. He's looked like a monster, especially in the pads, and everyone's talking about his size, length, and that explosive first step. Like, you wouldn't think him to be that quick, but he has shown that, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do at this NFL level. KOC has also highlighted Banks' mindset and work ethic coming into camp. You love to hear it. So now that we're kind of seeing some Caleb Banks and he's participating 100% right now, he's not being held back on anything. How are we feeling now about the 18th pick overall?
The way I'm feeling is I just want him to give me what Sharif Floyd was supposed to give us, because, you know, his career was looking real promising, and then something happened medical-wise where Vikings doctors allegedly messed up his knee, and then his career was over after that. But he was a key piece in that Zimmer defense, because that second year he was starting to get that quick first step, and then, you know, once you got a quick first step and then the pressure follows suit, now you know, I got to watch out for the defensive tackle. I got to watch out for Anthony Barr, who Zimmer liked the blitz, or watch out for Eric Kendricks because that double A-gap blitz. You know, I'm just hoping Caleb Banks could give us pressure from the interior, because we already could get pressure from the edges. You know, since we had Grenard, Dallas Turner, Vin Ginkel, all of our pressure is coming from the edge. But if we can get pressure from the inside with our defensive line now in the 3-4, that just takes our defense with B-flow to the next level. So I'm hoping, you know, I've been talking about it for years. Every year I scout defensive tackles, one to Mason Graham or any of the defensive tackles that can give us interior pressure, because if you look at a lot of the Super Bowl teams, they have a defensive tackle that can get that interior pressure.
Sharif Floyd, man, I'm hoping he's Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Shit.
That's what I'm hoping for. But I will say, I was one of the ones that was pretty disappointed with the pick. And not because of the player that he was or shown that he could be, because there was a time where he was mocked to us early on, and I was like, I can get behind this. But then he broke his foot for the second time, and that really scared me. So if he can stay healthy, and through everything we've heard from doctors, it shouldn't be a problem, and he's out there representing like he should be early on, I'm okay with the pick. I'm actually happy with it. Did I still want Dylan Thieneman? Maybe. But aside from that, I'm a lot more happy with the pick than I was on draft night. What about you, Cody?
I mean, I want Thieneman too. The one thing I need to see from Banks, I know he can get pressure seeding in college. I just want to know if he can finish, which is something that he lacked and was a weakness in college. And right now he's getting a lot of pressure, and that's what the story was in college. He's playing off that 4-eye technique, that 3 technique, a little bit here in that nose tackle position, but he's off over the left shoulder of the guard, or he's standing up right next to the tackle. Yeah, no, right. You like that, Barber? But I'm happy with it. What I'm seeing right now through training camp, and we're going to be happy watching him in preseason. I guarantee it. I just want to see the finishing aspect. I get B-Flow is all about pressures, getting it from the interior and on that side where Greener used to play, and you have Dallas Turner. I think it's going to help Dallas Turner out a lot when he's lined up right there, because you got a big man and you can't just cover Dallas Turner and him. You probably got to double team Banks. So just seeing the finishing aspect, I'll be a lot happier. But as of right now, I'm pretty happy.
How you feeling about it right now, Rinaldi?
Look, man, I'm a longtime Vikings fan, and to Shaq's point, Sharif Floyd was going to be our next great interior lineman. That was 12 years ago. I mean, we come from Alan Page, John Randall. I can keep going, man. But that is Viking football. I don't, and I've been waiting to see it for a while. So yeah, Thieneman, I'd love to have that guy at 18, I guess. But you know what? This dude has the potential to bring back what Viking football is about, and I'm pretty stoked about it. So yeah, Caleb Banks is my number one candidate, healthy this year, to go get a jersey, which will obviously wreck his career.
Can I talk you out of that?
Yeah, only if you don't go to any games.
Damn. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hope everything stays good. Can't wait to see it. Another guy that's been making some waves is our second round pick, Jay Gould. Consistently been popping up on 11-11 work, getting run with the first teams. He's had highlight plays, chasing down running backs, disrupting plays in the backfield. He tipped a pass that led to a Blake Cashman interception. And in a press conference, Gould said that the coaches told him that versatility was his fastest path to getting onto the field. So don't be surprised if you start seeing this guy playing some middle linebacker, some outside linebacker, and some edge, which there's been debate when the Vikings drafted him. What's he here for? Is he here to play linebacker? Is he here to, succeed Andrew Van Ginkel? It could be both. And they got him doing multiple things in camp right now, showing that they want to get this guy on the field. So that is very encouraging to see. Cody, I know you were pretty critical of the pick when it happened. You didn't see the need for a linebacker. You didn't think he was going to get any kind of playing time. Has this first 2 weeks kind of swayed you at all? You starting to see it a little bit?
No, I'm still not. Just because versatility, he has to be versatile to see the field. And that's the coach is telling, hey, there's not many snaps for you going around, so you got to keep playing these positions or get some snaps. I would rather have a safety, in that second round, and then I can play the safety. I know he's actually going to get snaps. Do I think Jay Gould could be a good player? Yeah, I think he could be a good player. I just don't see it for this season. Maybe the next season, like what you said, he's the replacement for Andrew Van Ginkel. But until Andrew Van Ginkel leaves this team, I can't see it right.
What about you, Rinaldi?
Well, it's a weird thing. It's hard. I don't know enough about a guy that I've never seen play to get too excited about it. But here's the thing. What I do know is that they have not gone out and got a number 3D pass rusher, right? Outside linebacker. They haven't done that yet. They're looking at this guy I think, along with a few other guys, Batty and whatever that other dude's name is, but there's a couple of guys that are out there. He's part of the mix to this. So I do think that there's something to be said about what it's going to look like with him being a multiple type of player. So I do think this guy's going to see the field. I don't know that he's going to be a huge impact player, but I think he will make splash plays. And I also think it's a little bit unfair to compare him to Van Ginkel. I mean, Van Ginkel's a eight-year vet that's done crazy things in this league. I don't know that this guy is going to actually end up being a Van Ginkel, but might be better in other ways. So I just want to see him play. I want to see how the preseason shapes out for him, and I think we'll get a good feel for where he's going to be. But I do see a lot of upside for the guy, and I do think he's going to get some reps.
And Shaq, you were kind of worried about us drafted a linebacker. Not so much that we drafted a linebacker, but like if we're gonna go linebacker, why him? There was other guys on the board. Are you starting to feel a little more comfortable with the pick, or you still need to see some more?
I'm pretty sure they did it for versatility, like you brought up, because if we was going strictly for a middle linebacker, I don't think he was the best pure middle linebacker on the board. You had the guy from Texas, Anthony Hill Jr., and you also had C.J. Allen from Georgia, who's better run up the stopping the run. They're not more so coverage guys, but that old school linebacker where if you need to stop running backs or screen plays, they'll come up and hit and make sure that screen doesn't turn into a 6-7 yard gain, or that run play doesn't turn into a 6-7 yard gain. So I'm pretty sure for Gould Day, I feel like he's gonna be used in the Van Ginkel role, and he's gonna be on the sideline, stand next to B-Flow and the linebacker coach, trying to learn how the scheme should go. But then
need him, we could, basically use him how we used Dallas Turner his rookie year. I don't expect Gould Day to get a lot of snaps his rookie year. Just be there because, it's a long NFL offseason. Not offseason, but it's going to be a long NFL season. So we're going to just need him to be ready with the limited reps he gets.
Yeah. So far, our first two picks looking good. We really haven't heard much about Orange yet, but just that he's a massive guy out there, getting good rapport with Caleb Banks. And I expect him to start over LDR, but we'll see. Maybe it takes a couple weeks. Another guy we haven't heard too much about, but there's enough out there about him to be interested, and that's Caleb Tieran, our third round pick. He's out there running with the twos, so obviously not going to be a starter. He's a tackle. He's not going to start over O'Neal. He's not going to start over Darisaw, but he is getting out there ahead of Walter Rouse, and that is encouraging. And this dude is a 6'7", 323-pound monster. Dude is massive. So to me, it's still an interesting pick that if you're going to go out there and sign O'Neal to that extension, that you use the third round pick on Tiernan. But then you also think about what we've gone through with depth. Like this could be, forget about the days of guys like Dozier, Udo, Skol. Like we actually have capable backups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty fascinated with Tiernan and the pick itself. It gets me thinking: is KOC serious about running this football? Like especially when it comes to the red zone, to where we didn't do much of that, right? And we weren't really good at it. Does he come in and check in like the Lions swing tackle, or is he that swing tackle in those packages to where we finally punch it into the end zone instead of getting 2 yards and then now we're throwing the ball in third and goal and it's an incomplete pass, you got to kick a field goal. So it's fascinating that he's with the twos. He's beating out Walter Rouse and putting him in that swing tackle role as that massive tackle, 6'7", over 320. Like I'm excited for it. I'm super stoked and I'm fascinated about it.
I just want to know, can he be better than the guy we signed from the Buccaneers last year? That's the real, that's the real competition. Not saying Skol's still on the team, but when he got in, we need at least, we don't want none of the offensive linemen to go down, but if O'Neal gets hurt or Darisaw gets hurt, we need Tieran to play better than Skol did for us.
Yeah, what is that? If he's playing right tackle, let's say Darrisaw does go down, who's playing left tackle? Like
Van
are
DeMark
we going to
from
move him
Buffalo.
over or
No.
Oh yeah, the guy from Buffalo.
Van DeMark
We
from
ban-
Buffalo.
Vandermark will
Vandermark.
take it?
So look, what we did, you know, we had 26 combinations last year on the line. We got caught flat-footed. Now, is doing something about it in 2026 a little late? Yeah, but I got a feeling we're not going to have that problem this year, right? I'm not saying that either one of these two guys are gonna fill in for our bookend tackles, but at the end of the day, at least we've done something to freaking address it. Leaving Justin Skol out there was just a disaster. And I would say that's as much of a reason that we went 9-6 last year, 9-7, as anything else. That line was just tough to watch. So I don't think we're going to have that problem again this year with what they've done. So thank you for doing it.
I'm scared of how not excited, but how confident I am in our line this year.
Right.
It kind of scares me. Anytime I get confident about something with the Vikings, it scares me. Been a Viking fan that long.
Yeah.
And Jay, this is a great question. He said, "Do you think mid-season we will be wishing that KOC had gave Kyler more training camp reps?" And you know what? Even if that's not the problem, that's gonna be what we're saying if he's playing bad.
Yep.
Like that's gonna be the escape.
It's already getting brought up right now.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if it's in the season and Kyler's struggling, it's like, oh, it's because KOC didn't give him enough snaps.
Yeah, man, we got a 50-50 shot of him playing well and not. And the guys that are saying, oh, you didn't get enough snaps are going to feel like they're right. But it's 50-50, man. Flip a coin.
What? I don't want to bring up Kyler Murray stuff or anything like that. It was fat. He's 38-48 as a starter for Cardinals. The Cardinals are 38-48. When he's not healthy, not in the field, they're 5-25. Like, and that's a bad team. And if your quarterback can do all that for you.
Yeah. Didn't want to get off too much on a tangent, but I thought that was a good question, and I wanted to ask it. The other third-round pick is safety Jacobe Thomas, which I know all Viking fans are pretty interested in this guy. I think it was a guy when drafted. A lot of Viking fans are like, huh? But then, like good fans, we all went and did our homework and looked up. Oh, okay, we might have a player here. Yeah, we drafted him about 150 picks before he was expected to go, but we might have a player here. And he's also been getting some first team reps, which he should be. You know, Theo Jackson's our starter right now, and I would say it's very likely that Theo Jackson isn't our starter week 1. So the spot is open. I wouldn't say Jacobe Thomas is the leader for that position. It's probably Jay Ward, but Jay Ward probably not a big hurdle. Camp observers have been noting that he is very aggressive in downhill, especially in the run game. So he's kind of more of a run stopping safety, I guess, even though he was kind of a ball hawk in Miami. So it's going to be interesting to see how Flores ends up using this guy. And one thing that I really like that I saw about him has nothing to do with how he plays on the field, but it's more about how he approaches the game. During training camp, most of the days, he's been the first one out there on the field. And that just means he's out there, he's ready to go get it. The dude loves football, and I love that.
Yeah, I like that too. And he does have that hard-nosed personality too, downhill tackler, like you mentioned. And he's getting a lot of first-team reps out there. And there's not much news out there about him, but sometimes no news is good news, especially from the safety position. Because usually you see those guys getting burned, and that's the news. Oh, this guy got burned. Like Lewis C., look at him, he got burned, And no news is good news, especially with the wide receivers the Vikings have out there. But what's also awesome about this is Harrison Smith, the Harrison Smith situation. Harrison Smith, I fully guarantee comes back before week 1 of this year. And Harrison Smith not being back for training camp, it's awesome to me, because what it's doing, it's giving guys like Jacobe Thomas, guys like Jay Ward, guys like Theo Jackson reps. And that's what I like to see. I think the starter is already going to be Harrison Smith, but getting them as much reps as they possibly can get during this first year of training camp, their rookie year, it's going to speak volumes in development. And that's what I like about it.
Agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what we do with the safety position. I mean, the spot is open. There is going to be opportunity for him to get playing time. I am really excited for preseason, guys. Like there are guys that I want to see play some football, and you can't learn a lot from preseason, but from rookies, I think you can. You can see who's a player,
Right?
And there are positions that are being played for. Like quarterback isn't the only competition going on; it's just the loudest one. And we didn't have a 4th round pick, so that will take us to the 5th round pick, Max Bredesen. During team drills and red zone 11-on-11 work, Bredesen, he's been utilized on play action fakes and leaking out in the flats, becoming a wide open outlet. He wasn't really much of a pass catcher in college, but he can do it. So it'd be interesting to see how they use him. And they said when the pads came on, coaches have been putting his physical blocking to the test. And he's been passing. Heavily involved in the special teams unit, so obviously he's going to be out there cracking skulls. But what role do you guys see for Bredesen in KOC's offense? And do you see him getting more use than CJ Ham?
Yeah, I think he's going to get similar use to CJ Ham. I mean, CJ had 184 snaps last year, and he was injured, so he played in like 11 games. He'll definitely eclipse that if he's healthy all year. And what I like too, and you just said it, is I think it was Wes Phillips that was up there. So that his pass catching is adequate. He's like as good as anybody in the league as a what you should expect out of a fullback. So, the guy likes to hit. The guy is a 2-time captain at Michigan. He's also a guy that loves to play football. So again, smart, likes football. It's what they drafted, man. The whole class feels like that, and he's big. So I think there's a lot of fun, interesting blocks. If you can watch the line, you're gonna enjoy watching this guy play. I'm excited for him, and especially with the new offense and the way the running backs are going to be. I think they are going to use him. I don't know that they're going to use him a whole lot more than 200 or 300 snaps, but it's probably somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think they're going to use him a little more than what they used CJ Ham. Well, CJ Ham was here. It's because of Kyler Murray being on the field. We've been seeing a lot during training camp, Kyler Murray under center, something he really doesn't do a whole lot. And when you put him under center, you're going to need that fullback back there to take on that extra block, to seal up that edge and to be a leaking out guy when Kyler Murray does tend to roll out of the pocket, right, and expand the field. So I do think he's going to get a lot more reps than what CJ Ham did and more playing time, just because we have Kyler Murray out there, and Kyler Murray's still getting used to being under center.
Yep. I think he'll be used more than CJ Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, with the coaching that we brought in and what we're trying to do out here. So I think if anything else, just because I don't think KLC is going to change the scheme too much, but I think there will be changes to the offense and they'll get him involved, especially using a 5th round pick on that position. They're going to use him.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, it's more so like when KLC first got hired, CJ Ham wasn't a young fullback. He was kind of up there in age.
True. That is very true. And then we had another 5th round pick, and this has been the star of training camp, Dale. Charles Demings. That's a name that we've been hearing praise for every day during this camp. And it's hard to not like Demings just based on his energy and confidence. Without even seeing him play, just watching that guy, he's a guy you want to root for. When they say he's got that dog in him, that's who they're talking about. They're talking about Charles Demings. And the quote that's been going around this week was when he was asked about facing superstar Justin Jefferson in practice, he said he treated him like a nameless, faceless opponent, and that's how he treats everyone that he faces. Woo! So his play has backed up his talk in camp. He's been breaking up multiple passes every day, and this is going up against guys like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. What kind of feeling is this guy giving you, Cody?
I remember that graphic I made a while back of him in the Child's Play outfit is perfect. I love Chucky D, and I liked him the day after we drafted him. I didn't have any on my draft board at Stephen F. Austin guy, but when we picked him up and you saw the little highlights that they show, and I was like, who is this? This guy's looking good, and then all the commentators were saying, oh, this guy is really good. And how did he fall and all this stuff. So I'm feeling really good about it. And if James Pierre can't stay healthy, or get on the field, he better watch out because cornerback 3 is here right now, and it's Chucky D. And I think he does.
Ooh.
I think he absolutely does get the start into that cornerback 3 role come week 1. That's how confident I am, how great of a camp he's having right now. We've heard about cornerbacks having good camps, but we haven't heard it like this. This is a super good camp, right? He's going up against a guy like Justin Jefferson, arguably top 2 best wide receiver in the league, maybe the best, right? Going up against him and shut him down. He shut him down. So I'm excited what Chucky D is going to bring to this defense this year. I think he does start week 1 in that cornerback 3 role.
So I heard that if you say his name 3 times, Brev shows up.
Is he here?
Demings. Shout out to Brev. What about you, Shaq? What's the feeling you're getting from Charles Demings? And you're muted.
My bad. It's like the feeling of, he just seems like a good guy. The same way, how we felt about J.J. McCarthy. But it's like all the quotes he's been saying through training camp and practice when he does the interviews, it's like uplifting. It makes you really thinking like, am I really living the best way I could be? Or am I at my best? And it shows that he's really trying his best, giving 100% every rep. And it's just like, you can't hate on a guy who's willing to, give his all every hour, every second of the game. So that's why I mentioned earlier, if him and J.J. McCarthy could hang out, I feel like he could get the best out of J.J. McCarthy and get him out of his head. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Charles Demings. When we did the draft talk, I wanted us to get a cornerback because I felt like, cornerback is one of our biggest needs. But if he pans out in the 5th round, then shit, who's really putting up points against us? We can move Byron Murphy to the slot, have Demings and your boy Rodgers on the outside, and let that pass rush get home.
So, Rinaldi, we're getting pretty excited about this guy. Are you on the same page, or are you a little bit worried that maybe it could be another situation like Dwight McGlothern?
No, I'm actually feeling pretty good about the guy. There's a couple things I really love about him. He's 6'1". He's not small. It's not another small, 5'10" guy. He runs a 4.4. He's got 10 1/8 inch hands. Hands, I said.
You are the hand size guy. That is a fact.
And so look, a 4.4 speed, and the attitude that he's got. I think we're going into this season with the best D back room we've had in quite a while. I feel really good about it, and I think his upside is huge. Is he gonna be a starter right away? Probably not. Maybe. I'm rooting for him. Love the guy, but it really feels to me like the offensive line room. What did we go into last season with 2 guys plus? Who was that other guy we had from Detroit? It was terrible. I mean,
Okuda.
Yeah,
Uda.
we had 2 starters in Okuda. I mean, this is a way better room. Yeah, we're not going to get caught flat-footed without cornerbacks, man. And I'm excited about that. So we may not see it come to a head early on, but I think this guy's going to see some running. I think he's got some upside, man. I'm looking forward to him.
Nice. Well,
side note, I will be comparing his career to Jermont McCoy.
Okay.
That's fair. That is fair. Because what did McCoy go in the 4th round?
Yes. Yeah. And he's doing preseason practicing.
Is he?
He's getting reps.
That's fair. 'Cause I mean, the Vikings had multiple chances to go after McCoy after the 1st round. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm feeling very confident in Charles Demings, and we're probably just lucky that he did go to a smaller school. But here we are doing what we do just about every offseason. We start getting our hopes up. We start getting gassed up. Rinaldi, you just wrote an article on letskol.com telling Viking fans to pump their brakes. So what was your inspiration to write that? And what message were you trying to convey to Vikings fans with that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of foregone conclusions with people that listen to all these podcasts, right? and you start listening to these guys, and they come up with names that are, oh, this guy's definitely making a 53, or this guy's gonna do this or do that. I think you got to pump the brakes a little bit to actually understand what their ceilings are and what their floors are. Now, these three guys that I wrote about, I'm not saying they're bad players. I think they all have a huge upside and could fool me. But to think of them as foregone conclusions, as they're gonna be greater, this season's gonna be this or that, I can't buy into that. So pump the brakes on it. So the three guys that I talked about, let's dig into them.
All right. So yeah, like you said, you did highlight three players, and let's start with Dominique Orange. You're saying that the issue for him isn't talent, but it's going to be trust. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, he is a rookie guy in the middle, right? So if you look at the last 3 or 4 drafts, I did a little bit of research when I wrote the article, and I looked at how many snaps, third round or later rookies got. Nobody had more than 300 snaps. And let's be honest, we're talking about a defense where you have to play a certain style and be super smart in it. And I think it's already proving out that, I like the guy. I think he's gonna be great. So please don't jump on me for thinking that Big Citrus isn't going to have a great career. I just don't think that we should put so much pressure on him for this year. 300 snaps, a couple of pressures, couple of sacks. Yeah, I see all that happening. Is he going to be a 500 snap starter? I think that's way. Dallas Turner wasn't a 500 snap starter, and I know he plays edge, but asking that out of a number 3, I don't know. I think you got to be careful with it.
Yeah, and you make a good point, because some Viking fans are asking for that out of him. They are asking him to be a starter and get the 500 snaps and be a stud. So maybe some of those people need to pump their brakes.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Rinaldi on that, because nose tackle is not an easy job. Yeah, we say you get like a nose tackle in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, just plug them in, and then he got to eat up blockers. But that's actually harder than it seems. Like, you got to know how to clog the run lane. You got to know when to release off your blocks. You got to know when, we don't need him to play all 3 downs, but those first 2 downs are important, because you got to know if the quarterback is doing a play action, or he got to know if the run is coming towards him. So it is going to take, I say, at least the end of the year till we start seeing if Dominique Orange could be a great nose tackle in the NFL. Yeah, he is one of the best in college football, but this is the NFL. It's a learning curve. Just like with cornerbacks, there's a learning curve with nose tackles.
I can't wait for that. No, I can't wait. I need immediate gratification. We let go of 2 of our starters. You need to plug and fill, my man.
Yeah, and it's in a Brian Flores defense, 500 snaps at nose tackle it's almost going to be impossible. I think we had 250 snaps directly in front of the center at that nose tackle position. So Dominique Orange, we'll see around that 200 plus snaps, but it ain't going to be 500. It's we just don't run it in B-Flow's defense. We don't run the nose tackle directly over center like we think. So
yeah, and LDR is playing pretty good. I'm hearing a lot of good things about LDR this year too. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely gonna be part of a rotation, but I hope we see him early and flash early.
I think
so. 500 snaps. I don't care how many snaps he gets. I just want him to be in there early and be effective and look like a guy that's going to be here for 8 years.
I can dig it.
Next, you had Juwan Jennings, and you're pushing back on the notion of this being 3 deep 2026. Why should Viking fans pump their brakes on that?
I mean, come on, man. You guys remember 3 deep. Jake Reed, number 3 receiver on that team, had 3 1,000-yard seasons in a row before we drafted Randy Moss. I do not see a 1,000-yard season out of him at all. And if you look at our wide receiver 3, the best wide receiver 3 season we had was KJ Osborne in 2022. KJ Osborne's 2022 was 65 receptions-ish and something like 6 or 8 touchdowns. I mean, he had a really solid year, 600 yards. If Jennings even comes close to that, and again, I'm just going to throw numbers out there. Just look at the ceiling versus the floor. If Jennings even comes close to KJ Osborne's numbers, I'd say it was a successful season, and I don't even see that quite happening. I think the guy's a possession receiver. He's not really going to go long all that much, and he's a great blocker. Great player, great pickup. I love the player. I love what he has, but let's pump the brakes a little bit on calling it 3 deep because I don't see it like that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I know when fans was hyping up, oh, we could get Jennings and then we could trade Addison. He was the solid number 1 receiver for the 49ers. But he wasn't even their number 1 receiver. Their number 1 receiver was Christian McCaffrey. Like, let's be real. Behind Christian McCaffrey, it was George Kittle. Yeah, Kittle got hurt, but I'm pretty sure the first read and the second read was either Kittle or McCaffrey, then Jennings. But I'm glad for the money we're paying Jennings. Yeah, he's solid, but we also drafted a receiver in the 3rd round last year who's starting to make waves. And I was like, we don't really need a Jennings when we got Ty Felton in the building. Just let him develop. But what's wrong with having too many receivers in the receiving room?
Shaq, you make a great point. Ty Felton is the 3rd deep, not Jennings, bro. Ty is
he might be the 2nd deep.
Yeah, he could.
He's not here to replace Jennings. He might be here to replace Addison. At this point, he keeps this up, especially when you're seeing what these wide receivers that are getting paid right now. Jordan Addison got to be licking his chops. But I want to get to this last one before we get into this Skol with the enemy, and that was you brought up Ben Urosek telling fans to pump the brakes on naming him Hawkinson's successor. Why?
Well, look, I mean, I just keep hearing, oh, Urisek's a lock for the 53. I think that's forgetting about who Bartholomew is. Everybody, if you're really talking about early Mr. Mankato's right now, Bartholomew's having a really good camp. He's catching everything that's coming at him. When you look at Urosek, yeah, he was a good blocker. He got on the field last year. Good for him because of necessity or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I think that the upside of Bartholomew trumps Ben Urosek's hard-nosed, let's go Bob Lunchpail kind of guy. I see Bartholomew actually having a really good camp, and he's going to continue to have a good camp. And he's probably, I'll even say he probably scores a touchdown or 2 in preseason, Bartholomew. So unless Urosek really gets rolling, and I actually heard he had a couple drops the other day, I think I've already kind of hit this one. But pump the brakes on saying he's going to be the 3rd tight end, because I don't know that I see that automatically.
Yeah, I'm super pumping the brakes on what making him the Hawkinson successor. It's the only person going to succeed. Hawkinson is going to be another 1st-round pick tight end. I mean, even if you pick up a veteran like Njoku or who's the guy that's picked up like Isaiah Likely, like they're not going to be TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson's 1st-round talent for a reason. The only thing that's going to replace him or succeed him is going to be another 1st-round talent in tight end. So, yeah, pump the brakes on Urosek right off the bat.
And I think Urosek is a blocking tight end, and he was a UDFA. Bartholomew, we actually drafted, and he's actually been looking pretty good in OTAs and minicamp. So it's kind of like if it was my choice, I'll have Oliver and Bartholomew being our starting 2 tight ends, and then you have Bredesen being that H-back. So he'd be tight end 3 or he'd be our fullback. So it's kind of looking real slim for Urosek. The only reason I really know his name is because, last year Cody brought up we're going to get Ben Urosek because he was a top 30 visit.
That's another one we'll have to watch out for in preseason. I mean, that's another one of those battles that's not the quarterback. There are battles throughout this roster besides the quarterback, and it's really going to start taking shape in preseason. So Rinaldi and Cody, thank you for sharing that. They both wrote articles for letskol.com, which, that's our website that just launched, and we're trying to have more articles, more Viking content. So Check out letskol.com. Put that in your bookmarks. Make it your homepage. That's what you should do. You should make it your homepage. We are also looking for more writers. If you've ever wanted to write about the Vikings and you just didn't, know how to go about it, hit me up. I'll make it real easy for you, and you can start writing about your favorite team. Get in the game.
Gotta have a good headshot.
Getting in the game. Let's go ahead and bring on our Packer fan. Let's do some Skolling with the Enemy. And you notice I said Packer fan singular. Every other team, we were able to get multiple people. I struggle to get Packer fans. Like I'm still struggling with that. But let's welcome Mike from the Ohana Packers Edition podcast.
How's it, guys?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Mike? I think Ohana means family.
Yeah.
So, Mike, thank you for joining us. We were having a real hard time getting Packer fans to come on here, which I was really surprised. So, thank you for doing this. To get us started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Packer fandom? And I want to know your feelings on the Vikings, not like how you think they're going to do this season, but if someone says they're a Viking fan, what's your immediate reflex? And in explaining your Packer fandom, you're in Hawaii. I need to know how that happened.
Okay, so as far as Packers fandom, so I'm 36, so I was barely watching football when Brett Favre had his 5-touchdown performance in '95 on Monday night against the Bears. And that was kind of it. Was hooked from there. Started with one player, but stuck with the team and just kind of fell in love with the tradition. What it means to have the G on your helmet. Obviously, it helps that they won the Super Bowl the very next year and stuff, the very next season and stuff. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. There's been a lot of ups, a lot of heartbreak, but I mean, that's what comes with sports teams, right? Is like, there's only one winner every season, and everybody else is just somewhere between depressed and pissed off about it. So that's how it goes every year. But so I guess I have two different reactions to people who say they're Vikings fans. So out here, it's kind of the same thing, like how you guys are asking, like, how did I become a Green Bay fan? It's kind of like, oh, like, do you like, well, and then, being a kid of the 90s is like, so you're like, my initial reaction is like, so you're a Randy Moss fan? Or, at the time it was like Culpepper was big and stuff, like, Culpepper was starting to like really figure it out the early 2000s. And so it's like, oh, so you like this player kind of thing. And then I actually went to Michigan for college. And so when I was up in college, it was like, so you're from Minnesota? Like, yes. So, it was like a very, I got into the whole like, oh, it's a regional thing and all that kind of stuff. Or, are you from Minnesota? Or are you from one of the Dakotas or something like that? So overall, and then, just in terms of like thoughts on the Vikings, being my age and like, especially really getting into like football in the 2000s and stuff, the Vikings were the top competition in the division, especially for those like early to mid 2000s years. And then obviously, it culminated with the Favre years in Minnesota and stuff like that. So definitely like it was one of those where it was like they were the rival to measure themselves by, because I mean, at that point, Detroit hadn't done shit for like 30 years. They had Barry, but that was kind of it. Like once Barry left, they went back to being nothing. And then the Bears were like in the midst of still living in the Super Bowl shuffle at the time and stuff, which, predates me by 5 years. So it's kind of like, it's the Vikings and us, and that's kind of it. So it was a lot of like, just beat the damn Vikings this year. So that honestly is like carried on to now. And like, you look at the rivalry the past, like, since 2000, the teams don't really blow each other out unless like there's extenuating circumstances with what the rosters are. So it really has overall been a good rivalry, just in terms of the competitiveness and, just kind of what it's meant for, controlling the division up until really the 2020s.
Okay. So it doesn't sound like you have a lot of hate for the Vikings.
I only say that because my hatred is for like teams we lose to in the playoffs kind of thing, and like
Yeah, I'm sorry.
like and so like there's a rivalry hatred and stuff, all that kind of stuff. But it's like if you ask me like the teams that I hate, it's like San Fran, Seattle for a time and stuff, like the teams that we just really, especially in the late 2010s and 2020s, that like have just been a consistent roadblock, no matter whether they're the better team or we think we're the better team and stuff. We've had a couple just mind-numbingly depressing losses to NFC West teams, and that stoked the fires of hate more than anything else. Whereas Minnesota, like I said, is more of like a respected hatred kind of thing. Like, we know that there's not a lot of love between the two sides and stuff like that. And it was, like I said, more of a measuring stick. And it's like, you want to win the division, you better beat the Vikings this year. That kind of thing.
Do you think that is the way now? If you want to win the division, it's beat the Vikings?
Not this year, and I hate saying that about my former quarterback. Like I know that it was one of the notes for the episode. Like, I'm always gonna love JJ for what he meant to the what he means to the University of Michigan, what he did for Michigan. But and even when he got drafted by Minnesota, I was like, I didn't want him to suck. It's just like it's just 2 games out of the year. I don't want you to play very well, kind of thing. But I mean, we can talk about that later. But right now it is, Bears fans say, they want it to be them, but I do think it is Green Bay and Detroit at this point.
Ooh.
Chicago is in the seat that they got to prove it again. Like there's been so many, and that's been Chicago's thing the past like 20 years is like, they'll have a really good season out of nowhere. And then it's like, oh, the next year they go back to sucking kind of thing. So it's like, do it 2 years in a row, you guys. Like that's what Minnesota did for the better part of like 15 to 20 years. That's what Detroit's done for the past like 5 to 10 years at this point. So, Chicago wants to really be in the conversation. It's like, okay, prove that you are like really, you're really back. Like you guys have said you're back. You're on your like 4th first round quarterback in a row. And then, you can kind of throw Cutler into that depending on how you look at how that trade was. But it's like, okay, like, you guys have said multiple times, like the Bears are back, and it's like, okay, back to what? And it just kind of fades back into nothing. So, I mean, long-winded answer to say, it's, Detroit is the measuring stick, but if, whether the light miraculously comes on for JJ or if Kyler really does make the offense passable, Vikings defense is, that Flores unit still is a lot to be reckoned with. It's caused LaFleur a lot of problems. Last year was the first time we beaten O'Connell at home, so it's one of it. It still is a measuring stick of sorts. It's just not what it was like in the the 2000s and 2010s.
That's fair. That's fair. Cody, we get the Packers week 1 this season. Do you like that we have that matchup in week 1, or do you wish that, maybe we got a couple games under our feet first before we headed into that? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I love playing the Packers week 1, especially when they don't have Micah Parsons during week 1. And that's that. And if we win, that's a game up in the division already. That's 1-0 in the division, 1-0 in the league. So whenever you can catch Green Bay early, that's when I feel like you need to play Green Bay, because the later it goes, right, during the season, you might catch them in the middle of December or January, and it's not going to be in Minneapolis. It's going to be at Lambeau Field. So getting them week 1 allows us to play them before the winter months and for Lambeau. So I'm excited to play in Green Bay, because adding the winter in Lambeau Field, it's a whole different kind of ball game. They could have non-Jordan Love and let's say Cooper Rush out there, and they might have a chance of beating us because they have a 12th guy, and that's the weather. So having them early week 1 allows for us to play in Lambeau Field before December. So I'm all for it.
It's in Minnesota.
I know it's in Minnesota, but it helps us not playing in Lambeau past December, because they're not going to spread it out 15 weeks and then you're playing Lambeau. It's going to be within that 7-week window.
What about you, Rinaldi? You excited for that week 1 matchup, or do you wish that we kind of got some games out of the way and then, played such an important divisional game?
No, man, I think it's great that we start off the season like that. It puts you right into the middle of it, man. We jump into the deep end and we just try and kick some ass, man. Why wouldn't we like that? I think it's great. I can't wait.
How do you think the Vikings come out that game, Shaq, week 1 against the Green Bay Packers?
Are we going to this game?
that makes a difference?
I mean, clearly it does, because my first home game was one to remember, I should say. But hopefully, our starters are healthy and we get a good game. I know the last time we played the Packers week 1, we had Ed Donatel looking like the best defensive coordinator after he shut down Aaron Rodgers. And then, the rest that happened that year. So I'm expecting us to win. I want us to win. I expect us to win. And, beating Green Bay, which is a good team, national media all have Green Bay going to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure Green Bay fans have them going to the playoffs. And they're not really thinking regular season wins. They're thinking about what teams they want to play in the playoffs and can they beat them? Like my boy Mike said. So, if we could beat Green Bay week 1, that gives us an early start in the NFC North, and it gives us a 1-0 record in the NFC Conference.
Okay. I get it. It's a lot of hype and, you're excited, you're playing against the rival that week 1. Man, I'm already excited for week 1. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We could be playing the Panthers, and I'm going to be really excited for that. And sometimes that first game could be a little sloppy, and I know that can go both ways. I almost wish we had a couple get-right games before we got into such an important game. But what about you, Mike? When you saw week 1 at Minnesota, what was your initial reaction to that?
I mean, yeah, kind of, I split the difference because, like you said, Keith, week 1 games, there's always something kind of funky that happens. Even last year when, Green Bay, we played Detroit, had a statement win, but you had the pick 6 that wasn't by Love in that game and stuff. And so there was a couple of moments where it's like you're in control of that game and it almost slips away maybe. But it is, it is a good barometer for how you'd like to think your team's going to play the rest of the year, because it's like, okay, if you come out against your division rival, you look sharp, game plan looks crisp, your players look like they're on top of it. It's like, okay, this is like a really good sign. And, you don't want to peak too early in the season or anything like that. But it's like, okay, good. Like all the stuff you said you guys have been working on all off season, it actually looks like you guys have some tangible returns on it and stuff. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like anytime you play a division game, no matter how good or bad the division opponent is, it's like those games matter for a reason. So it's always a little more nerve-wracking, a little more stressful. But in the 2020 hindsight world, it's like if you do come out with the win, it's like good. You, like you said, you're 1-0. You're 1-0 in the division, and it's just like a really good springboard. But then you have years like 2022 from our point of view where it's like, oh, you guys just totally shit the bed coming out of the gates, and is that what this whole season's going to be like? So yeah, it has its ups and downs, but I've kind of come to accept that it's good to kind of have see if your team's got their heads screwed on straight right out the gate.
We'll find that out real quick because we got to play the Packers week 1, and then we got to go to Soldier Field and play the Bears, the Indiana Bears.
Yeah, I wish our starting quarterback was getting all the reps for training camp. Maybe we wouldn't be so sloppy.
Well, speaking of quarterback, Mike, I know your fan base is somewhat split on the Packers quarterback, Jordan Love, at least from the outside looking in. That's how it appears to me. It seems like when I'm on social media, I see Packer fans that love Jordan Love and Packer fans that don't like him at all. Is that a fair assessment that the fan base is pretty split on him? And where are you at with Jordan Love?
So I'll start with me. I'm all in. I think he's overall proven himself over his 3 years as a starter. He's answered a lot of questions. I do think there is still. I think that the ratio of fans for and against him, it's swung more towards for. A lot of the holdouts are people who either are still, Rodgers fans more than Packers fans kind of thing, or you have the super freaking weirdos who hold on to that they didn't like the draft pick kind of thing, and they want to 2020 gotcha 7 years down the road kind of thing, which is really, really like exhausting for people to have like cling on to that kind of mindset. But overall, like the fan base is for the most part really behind Jordan, and expectations are pretty high for him this season. That he was really, really coming into his own last season, and then he gets concussed against the Bears, misses the rest of the regular season, and then has a really good playoff game, but circumstances be damned, like it wasn't meant to be and all. So overall, though, the fan base has mostly swung in behind him, but there is that very vocal minority who's gonna dig up whatever to be against.
Mike, do you like how they handled him? Like, he didn't really start for 4 years, right? I mean, he was just sitting behind, and then they had to give him a big contract. I mean, we're kind of looking at that. If somehow JJ McCarthy wins the spot here, what did that feel like to you, waiting for all that?
So there's definitely a lot of I don't want to say blind faith, but like there was a lot of the roadmap set down from, okay, we did this with Rodgers 15 years ago kind of thing. The circumstances were totally the same. Aaron wasn't doing the same. I might retire, I might not retire that Favre was doing at the time. But people are on different sides of it and stuff. My whole thing at the time was, if you took it at face value when they picked him, it's like, okay, who are the quarterbacks that are coming out the next couple years? And it's like, hey, you're in the droves of like Kenny Pickett year. You're not going to be in position to get Trevor Lawrence, so that's out the window. And so it's kind of an eye of the beholder thing. The biggest concern with Love was like, so his rookie year is the COVID year, so there was no preseason, and he didn't have an off season. And then heading into his second season, it's like, because there was no preseason as a rookie and he didn't play as a rookie, it's like, okay, like, I guess he looks better at certain things than he did in college, but because he had no preseason, you can't say like he definitely looks better at, these three things. And
so almost just like JJ McCarthy.
A little bit.
A lot like it, man.
So, but in terms of the contract, the thing that Green Bay did is like, so they turned the keys over to him in his fourth season. And what they did was something kind of interesting, where instead of exercising his fifth-year option, they gave him a one-year extension that, like, it kind of hedged bets because it was a little more than what the fifth-year option would have been. But because of how the guaranteed, it wasn't 100% guaranteed, so it would have been a little easier to cut bait if it, like, totally went up in flames in 2023. Obviously, it didn't. They extended him during the season, and, it's he's just steadily improved from there. And it's where it's different from like McCarthy's situation and Love's is like, Love came out of not a true run and shoot, but he came from a spread heavy system, didn't go under center in college, all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of fundamentals that he needed to work on coming out of Utah State. And he did need the time. I mean, you saw him start against the Chiefs his second season in 2021, and he just flat out wasn't ready. And then you go from the jump from that start to when he had to come on in relief of Rodgers in the 2022 game against the Eagles. And granted, it was like a quarter and change of play, but he just had a totally different command of the offense at that point. Like, I'll fully admit there were points in that 2022 season where I was kind of like, if you fall far enough out of the race, do you just kind of say, Aaron, like, we love you, but, it's time to kind of see, what we got behind him. And that's the other part of Jordan is like, I think because of how, early on he did have like some of those really weird plays. Like he had the one against the Saints where his foot slipped out of him on the trick play and he kind of like fell in the splits trying to throw a flea flicker. Some of his interceptions, even as recently as this year, are just still like far levels of baffling. But he only had 6 of them, and I know he missed like 4 games. But the talk about how turnover prone he is I think overblown, and it's just because like his 6 interceptions, 4 of them are just like some of the most inexplicable decisions that can be made. But overall, like he really does have his T's crossed and his I's dotted in terms of his command of the offense. And you know, I'm not there. Obviously, I don't have any real insider knowledge or anything like that, but it does seem like the team has his back and that they like him. And like, I do think that goes a long way towards having success in the NFL offense.
So I got a question.
So you're
Mike.
okay with the way they handled the contract situation?
And that is someone who believed that Jordan would be good. Like, and granted, it was off of like the 2022, like how much he jumped from the Chiefs game to the Eagles game in a little bit over a span of a year. And so, like, I was just totally looking at it as, you know, glass half full. It's kind of like, I didn't think he would blow his Achilles out the first game of the next year, but I was kind of done with Aaron at that point. And so, you know, I was like, you know what? You picked him, have the courage of your convictions, and you got to just, at some point, you gotta see what you got in the garage there. So that was my attitude on it. And like I said, the way they did his contract, where they gave him the 1 year instead of the 5th year option, and then kind of waited into the 2023 season to extend him, is like, you put guardrails and training wheels on him to manage the situation. The Vikings technically still can do that with JJ because, you know, you have all of 2026 and then you don't have to make a decision on his 5th year till next year. But, you know, it just really all depends on how this preseason looks, what happens in the season. It's a way different. I know I'm like not giving you an answer you want to hear, but it's just such a totally different situation. And
hey,
yeah.
Mike, who's going to carry the rock for you this year? Because isn't one guy going to jail? I mean, what's and who's backing him up? I mean, let's be honest. Let's get to the meat of this thing.
So, as of right now, Jacobs is running back 1. The process has to play itself out. I'm not.
So, in other words, you don't know.
Don't know. Like, there could be a revelation tomorrow that he's found guilty of all the things that he was accused of. You know, that was the part that was really upsetting about it when it was announced. Is like, you know, normally when these guys get, you know, whether they're they have a warrant put out or arrested for, you know, domestic disputes, it's like, that's it. There was a domestic incident kind of thing. You don't get the laundry list that was attached to Jacob's name of the like 7 really deplorable things.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, what's the word on the street? Are they actually gonna?
It's really been radio silence. Like, there has been nothing out of Green Bay, nothing out of
But
the
what do you
league.
expect? Is the guy gonna play or isn't he?
He should go to jail.
He should freaking go to jail.
Yeah.
I tell you this.
Yeah.
I tell you this, for the Love and McCarthy thing, you guys played it correct. How you guys did with the contract. You waited until Jordan Love was actually ready to be an NFL starter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you guys did. Yeah, and it's hard. It's right. Like, you want to see what's in that garage. You want to see what's under that hood. For the Minnesota Vikings, we didn't do that. JJ McCarthy is still not ready this year. Coming off a full year's worth of injury, and then we're like, oh, yeah, he's ready to go. You know, like, no way he's ready to go. So I think that's where he failed. I think it's where you guys.
And it didn't help that Darrisaw wasn't Darrisaw to start the season, and, you know, like, there was more flux on the O-line than people want to admit. And that's the thing with like the Love and Rodgers thing too, is like Aaron winning the back-to-back MVPs, like starting the year they drafted Love, really recontextualizes how Rodgers' standing in the league was, because it was like, okay, he got hurt in 2017. 2018 was, you know, he put up numbers, but it wasn't really that good. There was a lot of like, sort of like a smoke and mirrors kind of feeling of it. And then even 2019, like his, you know, all his advanced stats, they tailed off bad at the end of 2019. And then, you know, you get blown out in San Francisco where it's like, doesn't even look like he belongs on the same field in the NFC Championship game. And so, you know, he goes and wins back-to-back MVPs, and you have a lot of outside people saying, like, oh, it was a wasted pick. Like, why'd you do that? But it's like, he was tailing off at the time, but it does make it easier to sit and wait on a guy to, like, totally rework his game when you do have a resurgent Aaron Rodgers, you know, at quarterback. So it's different. You know, it's tough. It's a tough situation the Vikings are in. And I know some people are like, they let Darnold get away, but it's like, they weren't going to pay him the contract. Like, that's the thing, is like, Aaron was already under contract. I know they extended him. That kind of made the exit messier than it needed to be. But, I mean, it was just a lose-lose situation for Minnesota last year because it is the whole, like, oh, if they bring in another starting, ready quarterback, it's like, everyone's like, oh, Daniel Jones. But it's like, oh.
No, we were saying Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I think if you brought Aaron Rodgers in last year, McCarthy would have been better off this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So,
Mike, who's your number one wide receiver?
So, Green Bay fans will tell you it's Christian Watson. I think by year's end, it's going to actually be Golden if everyone's healthy.
Mhm.
Because Watson is the guy that keeps defensive coordinators up at night. But, like, you need a guy who runs routes. And I don't mean that to disparage Watson, but, like, Romeo Doubs had a lot of faults, but he had a lot of, like, important things he did for that offense where it's like, you need a guy who can sit there and run a 12-yard dig consistently for you, and he's going to be at 12 yards every time so that, you hit him on it enough times, and then it's like, that one time the safety bites up, oh, there goes Watson over the top to split the split safety kind of thing on a post. And, Watson's probably going to lead the team in touchdowns. Kraft might give him a run for that, but I think Golden by the end of the year is going to prove to be the, like, not to their level yet, but the goal is that he becomes that, like, Greg Jennings, Devontae Adams type.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And Watson was on my fantasy team last year. He seemed to disappear for game. He's like feast or famine. He's like either a home run or it's nothing.
Yeah,
he does nothing.
Because
has he had over more than 600 yards in a season? I don't know that you can consider him your wide receiver one at any stretch of the imagination.
Don't tell that to certain Green Bay fans.
I'll tell that to anybody who asks.
Yeah, it's like the Bears saying Rome Odunze is their number one or Luther Burden. The guys, they barely cracked 700 yards.
Yeah,
and you have a way better quarterback than what Minnesota did. And Steve Watson is not the number one. I had a dude throw for -7 yards in a game, and still Jefferson hit 1,000 yards in the air. Let's calm down. You tell me when your wide receiver can do that without Love.
Right.
He can't even do it with Love.
Yeah, can't even do it with Love.
So, Mike, I have a question. At what moment did you realize that you said Jordan Love can actually win us it all? Or are you still not convinced on Jordan Love?
I think it was
during Toyotathon.
Yeah, during Toyotathon. Honestly, it was actually it was before Toyotathon. It was that back-to-back, the Thanksgiving game against the Lions and then the Chiefs game right after it. So, like, because at that point, going into the Lions game, I think we were 4-6. And it's like, this is basically do or die at this point of the season. Like, if you lose this Thanksgiving game, you're pretty much out of it. So, that stretch, and then, obviously then they lose the 2 games after it. But then that, like, 6-game stretch where you, like, your season's on the line, you have your 2 biggest games of the season, you got to win those. You come back, ironically, part of the turning point in why you, like, struggled in the game after is Watson's hamstring turned to dust again against the Chiefs. And then you struggle for a couple more weeks and then figured it out again at the end of the season. You close out with Carolina, the Minnesota game, and then Chicago at home. But it was that 2-game stretch against Detroit and Kansas City where it was like, okay, like, he's got it. He's got it. And that was when it was like, okay, yeah, like, all systems go at this point.
Okay, enough about Jordan Love. I've heard all I need to hear about Jordan Love. Tell me about maybe a Packer I don't know. Who'd you guys pick up in free agency? What was your biggest offseason acquisition?
So, I think it's going to be Javon Hargrave, and he hasn't practiced yet. He hasn't practiced yet. He's on PUP right now, but
wow. Tell us more.
But they're not asking him to be like who he was with the Steelers or the Eagles or anything like that. They need an adult in the room because they're really young in that defensive tackle room. I mean, your vet is Devontae Wyatt at this point. who's going into his. So he's going into his 5th season, and they just need they need an adult in the room. They had one in Kenny Clark, but you trade him in the Micah Parsons deal. So you'd like to see Hargrave produce on the field, but even if all you get out of him is like just helping turn the picks from last year, McClellan, who they took in the 3rd round this year, if he just kind of helps show them the ropes, that could be a really big pickup for them. So you'd like I said, you don't want to be paying him as much money as they are to just be like a paperweight, but there is something to sharing veteran knowledge in the league when you bring in younger guys.
Couldn't imagine paying a guy like that to be a paperweight. Cody, who's someone that we brought in this offseason that the Packers need to watch out for?
The guy that we brought in this offseason, the Packers need to watch out for is Kyler Murray.
Ooh.
Who did we beat them with at our quarterback?
I think JJ technically started.
Yeah, he started, and then we used another quarterback, and we still won. Right now,
yeah,
we have an arguably better quarterback in the room in Kyler Murray, right? And then you put him with this offense, and then without you guys having Micah Parsons week 1, it's going to be hard to stop Kyler Murray, especially if he starts scrambling against you guys, because you guys do not have that Micah Parsons out there, right? And trying to contain him. So I think it's Kyler Murray for me. I think with Kyler Murray on this offense, it's no longer going to be the sluggish games that we're used to where there's teams on the board for some reason. I think it's going to be a lot more points, and the defense from us is going to help us out. So Kyler Murray's my guy.
That's a good one. Not where I thought you would go with that one. Who is one player for the Packers that's kind of been a standout in training camp? Not your usual suspect. Who's somebody that's kind of been opening up eyes?
It's Cisse. Like, he's the 2nd round pick.
What round was Cisse in? I'm sorry, I got to stop you here.
2nd round.
Okay.
Yeah. First pick because traded our first to Dallas, but Keyshawn Nixon had a hamstring, held in, whatever, whoever, depends on who's saying it, but he missed the first day, and then Cisse had a good first day, and Nixon's hamstring was magically feeling better on the 2nd day kind of thing. So, and then Valentine's been out since the start of this week, so Cisse's been getting a lot of first-team snaps. Nothing like super highlight, but he just looks like he belongs out there. And that's enough for me out of a rookie cornerback at this point in time.
I love Brandon Cisse. A lot of people in the comments love Brandon Cisse also. Was a crush.
We talked about him a lot this offseason and before the draft. Rinaldi, who's the guy the Packers need to watch out for that's showing out in camp for us?
Oh my God, that's easy. It's Demings, my man. This dude. Have you seen Demings? Have you seen what's going on with
I scouted him a lot this offseason. So kind of
you actually scouted an FBS player? Tell me why you scouted him. We didn't scout him, and we picked him.
Just because a bunch of the guys that I have private chats with and stuff, they're really into the drafts. I'm in the draft. I'm really into the draft, but they work with Draft Professor or certain publications and things like that. So they throw a lot of names around, and especially Green Bay needed cornerbacks this season. So Demings was on a lot of people's hidden gem or my guy list kind of things. And
Mike, where did you have him? If you've been
about where you guys took him, and it really did, it became a function of I forget where our picks were in relation to each other, but it's we had Cisse kind of thing, and we did need a D tackle in round 3. Demings was good enough that I wouldn't have been upset if they took him late in round 3 kind of thing.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's it's sort of I liken it to taking Tucker Kraft in 2023, where it's yeah, he's South Dakota State and all that kind of stuff, but it's if you really like the prospect enough, he elevates, you can elevate him because you think he'll transition and all that kind of. And Demings is Kraft is proving he belongs.
Speaking of Kraft, wasn't he hurt at the end of the year last year?
Mm-hmm. So
and it was a knee, right?
Yeah, Blues
Do you
beat
know?
out against
Did you know that
Carolina.
Hawkinson had a knee and he never really came back quite like he was before?
Yep. So
Well, what do you mean? Yup. So I mean,
we'll see. Well, and it does make a really weird like situation because it's his contract year, wants to get paid like a top tight end, all that kind of stuff. It was one of those I wish they had beaten. The Cardinals tight end. I kind of had hoped that they would have
McBride.
McBride's deal, but I put it this way: like they're gonna pay him. The only way they're not is if they somehow trade him for a better tight end, which isn't gonna happen. So he's gonna be in Green Bay for the long term. But that's the thing
do you see him as 100% in 2026?
Maybe later in the year, and he has admitted like that he's gonna be on a snap count to start the season. Like he's being very open and realistic about it. But he did say like playing week 1 is like very much the plan at this point.
But not at 100%. So you know what? I go back and change my answer. I'm glad we're playing Packers week 1. I don't think the Packers are ready to play football in week 1, and this is gonna come back and bite me in the ass. So I'm not gonna clip that, Shaq. All right, before we get you out of here, got to do a couple more things. One of them being, what's your prediction for the way the NFC North shakes out?
So it's kind of by the book. Green Bay wins it. Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to be closer to Chicago than Chicago fans will want to admit. But I just think Kyler's going to get hurt at some point, and then it's like because he always gets hurt. He always gets hurt. Like he always has, whether it's a nagging thing or a big injury. Like he's going to get hurt at some point. And then it's like, okay, now you got to turn back to JJ, or I don't even know who your guys' QB3 is at this point.
No, Carson Wentz.
Oh God, that's right.
Our QB3 is better than your QB2. Who's your QB2? Tyrod Taylor?
In the words of I think it was Tom Moore, we don't practice fucked.
Yeah, I'm saying it.
I'm just saying, if we get to bring in JJ McCarthy, it'll be a blessing because it'll be time. All right, Shaq, how do you have the NFC North shaking up?
So it would be Vikings, obviously, not just the NFC North, but the NFC in general. We running this shit. Then it's going to be Chicago because they got Caleb Williams and he's going to carry them. After that, we got Green Bay. And then we got Detroit Lions being back where they should be.
You got Detroit finishing last place 2 years in a row. I don't know.
I mean, shit.
But I wouldn't hate to see it. But what do you got, Rinaldi?
Well, I'm not saying this, Mike, for your benefit. So, but what I've really had so far, I had the Vikings in first place. I got Detroit in second. I got Chicago in third. I don't like your roster, bro. I really do not. I am not scared of Green Bay, and that's not because you picked us last, but it makes it feel a lot better.
There's question marks. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's some question marks they got to answer really early in this season.
Yeah, I mean, especially dealing with the injuries you guys are dealing with, like it could go downhill real quick. But if you guys are able to, come out strong with those injuries, and then you get stronger as the season goes on, then you could end up being a problem. But you got to overcome them hurdles. What do you see it as, Cody?
So, I mean, I got the Packers last, and it's not because
never mind the rest of the teams.
Well, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. The Packers are last to me because your best players are facing legal trouble. They're hurt. They might not start week 1, right? And then let's say you go through a span weeks 1 through 5 before you get Parsons back, before you get Kraft back, and then whatever happening with Josh Jacobs, if he's fully ready to go with all the legal troubles, you guys could be facing a 1-4 record, or let's say they don't come back week 6, 1-5, and you're buried in the hole, right? And it's hard to escape from. That's why I got you guys last. And just on that, your 3 out of the 4 best players on your team are facing something. And that's a problem to start the year for Green Bay. You can't start off slow, in my opinion, if you're Green Bay.
Yep, absolutely.
But ahead of them, I got Detroit. I don't like how Detroit lost Montgomery this year, even though they picked up Pacheco. and they just got done paying Gibbs. I don't think Gibbs can shoulder that whole load. I love Jared Goff. I like what he brings to the table as a quarterback. I think he's a perfect system in KOC's system if he was over here. But I just don't think they have the defense to take control of Caleb Williams, Justin Jefferson, and the wide receivers we got, and even with the guys that you guys got coming back later in the year. I don't think they have the defense. So I got them in third. I got the Bears in second. And it's going to be really close to the Minnesota Vikings, and I have it coming down to Week 18, Minnesota versus Chicago for the division. So Minnesota winning that game, taking the division.
Can't wait. All right, Mike. Well, thank you for joining us. You're awesome. You saved the segment. We weren't going to be able to do it. We do have a couple Packer fans in the comments. So Ohana Packers Edition podcast on YouTube. Go ahead and give this guy a subscribe. I think they're getting really close to, is it 100 that you guys are almost about to crack?
Yeah, on Facebook, trying to do a drawing on there so that we can live, and trying to hit the 100 on Facebook so we can live stream there along with YouTube when we do live shows.
That's where we started, brother. We started Facebook
Mm-hmm.
and doing it, and like it picks up steam here a little bit later. Like it'll start going. I promise you, just stick with it, man, because we were down to 3 viewers, a show, and we're just going at it, and then it just turned out this whole thing, and it's a lot of fun. Just keep up with it, man.
Yep.
Hey, Alex,
I
I didn't say you should subscribe to a Packer fan, but you can if you want to get perspective from other teams. I did say there are Packer fans in the comments. You don't got to get all offended, Alex. Relax. I know who you are, man. All right, Mike. So give us your final words and give us one hot take on your way out of here.
Nope, just wanted to say thank you so much for having me on. It's just fun to talk football again and not have it be in the nowhere of the off season. We're finally, football is finally on the horizon. We actually had a good Hall of Fame game for the first time in the history of humanity. So maybe this is going to be just a special season, but thanks for having me on. And one hot take I got, you guys will finish ahead of Chicago.
Yeah, that's super hot.
I thought you were going to say Jordan Love MVP or something. That'd have been lava.
No, I'm not gonna put Bocce into the air. So no.
It's funny, I know that.
I'm not superstitious, but I am stitious.
Mike, give us a let's Skol on your way out.
That was gonna be my one. I did think Ragnar and that entrance used to be really cool when you guys used to have that as part of your pregame routine. But for having me on, let's Skol.
There we go, brother.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. Bye. All right. We got the whole division done.
Look at that.
Damn, Alex hates the Packers.
And
I hate the Packers too, but I'm not gonna lie. I said it last week when we talked to the Detroit guy. Doing these kind of statements has softened me up a little bit. I'm like, okay, they're not all bad. Like some of them are pretty cool. Hate your team. Like I have a coworker and he's a Packers fan and he's been out for like the last 8 months. I didn't even notice it. And then came back limping and like, oh, he had knee surgery. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that sucks. And like he was coming down the stairs and I was like, oh, give him room. I was like, man, he's a Packer fan. Don't worry about him. It's like, so like I don't like the Packers, but doing this has somewhat softened me up.
And Alex, we could have brought Steve on this show, brother, and I think the comments will be a little bit more nastier from you if we had him.
What up, D Woods? Rob, I see you in there, Rob. Rob was in there giving the Packers hell. I think Rob was an honorary Viking for about 10 minutes. And now he'll have to say something bad about the Vikings. I used to know how to do stuff.
There it is.
Who's got one?
I kind of mentioned mine earlier about bringing the quarterback in, the veteran quarterback in during McCarthy's third season, right? And usually that veteran quarterback comes in after you don't pick up the 5th-year option. It's like, okay, here you go. This is where your quarterback battle is. I think they brought in Kyler Murray because J.J. McCarthy was never going to be on the table for re-signing. I think it was always going to be Kyler Murray's show. or a veteran quarterback show. And it's because JJ McCarthy missed so much time to start his career. So I think usually you bring in a third veteran quarterback is during that end of that third year when that fifth-year option is available, and then he battles it out for the starting position. But not the case with JJ McCarthy because he was so much injured. He just lost his career with the Minnesota Vikings. So I brought in Kyler Murray.
Okay. Well, that is what I thought when they first brought Kyler Murray. Okay, here it is, and it's not going to be a real battle. But if it was never a real battle, and KOC is still doing this here in August during training camp, then maybe I need to reconsider, and maybe he should be fired. The only reason he should be taking snaps away from Kyler Murray is if JJ McCarthy still has an opportunity to become the starter. Otherwise, what are we doing here? You're not going to play him into a first-round pick because you try and make him look good in camp. You're not even going to play him into a second-round pick. So you should not be jeopardizing Kyler Murray if he is your starter and his snaps. Kyler Murray is not a rookie, but he is trying to learn one of the most difficult playbooks in the NFL. You got guys like Kirk Cousins, 10-year veteran, saying it's a hard system to learn, and Kirk Cousins is a very smart dude. So it'd be malpractice if this is not a real competition and they're still just doing it.
It's hard because he was a top 10 pick. You don't want to let that go. So you got to give him some reps. You're like, here, man. It's basically you're going all in on plus 1,000 odds or something. You're throwing that. Here's $10 on that 1,000 odds, so you can win a lot of money back on your bet. It's just how I feel about it. I don't think they still got him rolling in there. It's just here, man. We're gonna see maybe there's a little sliver of hope there, but it's just not there.
We got Jacobe Thomas over Dylan Thieneman. Okay, Jamal Adams is a linebacker now.
Yes,
yeah, brother.
Might be a better linebacker than any linebacker on the Bears.
Not hard.
That was my one snarky thing, Rob.
Isn't Roquan Smith? No, he's on the Ravens now, huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, he's on the Ravens.
Yeah, Bears. Oof, I'm sorry.
Yikes.
Gee.
You got one for us, Rinaldi?
Yeah, I have. I think Gavin Bartholomew is going to not only make the 53-man roster, but he's going to have 3 TDs this year.
Damn.
And I think that's pretty hot. That's a hot take. There you go.
It's a prophecy, but I'm gonna let it slide because you're new here.
Well, it says hot takes in parentheses.
So no, things have changed around here. Right now, hot takes are hot takes. Hot takes are opinions that are not popular, and predictions are now predictions. They're purple prophecies.
Okay.
It's okay, Rinaldi. I still
We got called out on that last year, and so I made a change about it.
I still don't get it, Rinaldi, so it's okay. But I do have a purple prophecy. I feel like
prophecies.
Yeah, we're doing horns.
Oh, my bad. Hot take.
Okay.
I feel like KOC will regain all the Vikings fans' trust this year by fixing his weaknesses that we've seen through his first 4 years with us and taking his coaching to the next level. Finding out when to get creative and finding out when his quarterback is struggling and when he needs to rely on the run game more, or how to set up the run game with better passing. I feel like all of it's going to come into play. He's going to look like the coach of the year candidate that he always was. Because not only that, he hired coaches to help him elevate his offensive game. I don't think you just bring in all these new offensive coaches and then not change your scheme around.
I mean, that could maybe lead to what make some of those fans come back that have strayed away, but I don't think just changing up his system and running the ball more is going to bring him back. Anything short of winning some playoff games is not going to do a damn thing. He can go ahead and run the ball 20% more than he did last year, run the ball in better situations. If they don't go and win a playoff game, it's not going to matter.
Well, not only just run the ball, he's also, I think it was Tyler Fornes or Judd was talking about when JJ McCarthy is throwing the ball, he's throwing a lot of underneath throws. I don't know if KOC's asking him to do that or if JJ McCarthy's just doing that on his own accord. But that could be, a new wrinkle into our offense. Not always having to go deep all the time. Checking it down to the intermediate and short, and then letting your playmakers get you yak.
Well, we'll see if he can win back some fans. I mean, I think the fans that are against him, it's a little bit unfair. I think Kevin O'Connell is still a top 10 coach in this league. So I'm
gonna buy what you're saying about the quarterback play is going to help the run game out. I mean, if you look at the Minnesota Vikings run game, every time we hit over 1,000 yards, we've had good quarterback play. Sam Darnold at 24, Aaron Jones eclipsed 1,100 yards, Dalvin Cook in 22 and that was the full healthy season from Kirk Cousins. Arguably, Kirk Cousins one of his best years at quarterback play. I think the run game hurt last year because we had terrible quarterback play. And KOC's offense, you need that quarterback to play well for that run game to run well. And that's the way it goes here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he can win some of these fans back. I'm going to go with probably my last words on this quarterback debate.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, maybe.
Next week.
Next week, yeah. We'll see what happens. But I want these to be my last words on this quarterback thing because I think the battle is over, whether it should be or not. And I don't think it should be. People talk about JJ McCarthy in order to win this battle. He's going to have to look a lot better than Kyler Murray. It's not just going to be like he has to beat him out. He has to look a lot better. And I don't think that's fair. I think it should be the other way around. I think Kyler Murray should have to come in here and look miles better than JJ McCarthy. Otherwise, what's the point? We're going to start him because maybe we can win another 1 or 2 games, and then he's going to go be a free agent and go somewhere else. And now we just wasted a year of developing potentially our franchise quarterback. I've already said it. I don't think we're going to sign Kyler Murray because either it's not going to work out or he's going to be really expensive and we're not going to do it. We can't franchise him. He can go out there and explore teams no matter, even if we want to sign him, he can go explore other options. So I just think unless Kyler Murray came out here and just looked great and was like, oh my gosh, this is like the Kyler Murray we were expecting to get, then they should just go with JJ McCarthy if it's close. Like they should just roll and keep developing and stick to that plan. That's my hot take.
Yeah, man. It's hard to disagree with that. And the reality, I mean, again, I want whoever is going to win more. I want whoever is going to take us farther, right? I do want to go farther. I get what you're saying. But I also, like, he's got, like, no personality at all. It's hard to root for him in a way. Is it just, and I'm not saying I'm rooting against him. I'm just saying, isn't it hard to root for the guy in a way? He'll be electric on the field, but, like, his press conferences are snoozers. I mean, he's not a personality at all. That's just my take.
I mean, I'm gonna root for him. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm gonna root for him. Like, I hope he takes us to our first Super Bowl. It's just, I'm thinking beyond this season, and I am getting a little bit older to where eventually I won't be thinking beyond the current season. But right now, I'm still thinking about beyond just this year. I don't think that we have a team that was like, we are just a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. Do I think we can win the Super Bowl? Sure. Any team can win the Super Bowl. Things happen in NFL. It could end up happening. We can win the Super Bowl this year. But it wasn't like that Vikings, they're only a quarterback away, and now Vegas has them going to the Super Bowl. Like, it wasn't that kind of party. So
I can get behind it, this take, if Kyler Murray's garbage also. If he does good, I don't see Nolan Teasley letting him out of the building after what he saw with Sam Darnold, like coming in and winning them a Super Bowl. I don't see it. But if he's garbage, yeah. Even if JJ McCarthy does show some life, I think it's a new quarterback will still be coming in 2027. If Murray's garbage and McCarthy shows a little bit of life, I think they're going to move on regardless.
I don't know that we were a quarterback away from the division last season. Purple Dose with hopes. I'm guessing that's Kyle. We were kickoff coverage away from winning the division last year. We could have won the division with JJ McCarthy. and Wynn and Brosmer.
Well, I'd say we were 2 quarterbacks away. not 3, but definitely not 1.
I just think that unless Kyler Murray is out there absolutely looking like a first-round pick,
he looks like Sam Darnold 24.
It should be JJ's team. I don't think he even looks like Sam Darnold.
You don't think? Well, if he doesn't,
and that's the thing, and that's the thing that's kind of been unfair. When JJ has a bad throw, that thing is highlighted, magnified. Yeah. When Kyler Murray does it, it's not a big deal. If JJ McCarthy had thrown that ball that JJ went up for and got, it would have been, oh my God, look at that terrible throw by McCarthy. He's going to get Justin Jefferson killed out there in camp. Well, with Kyler's like, oh man, that was a great play.
Well, in our comment section we said it was a bad throw.
Yeah, I never said it was a good throw. I was more so impressed with Justin Jefferson going to get it. I was like, oh, he's back. That was my main thing about the catch. It was more so on Jefferson than Kyler Murray.
Now, let's go ahead and get to these purple prophecies and make some predictions. Go ahead, Shaq.
My purple prophecy. I did this before, and I hit on him. Kyler Murray, first season with the Vikings, will be better than Kirk Cousins' first season with the Vikings. Yards, touchdowns, playoff win.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah, me too.
That's not where I thought you were gonna go, but I like it. I thought you were gonna go Kyler Murray's gonna be player of the week 1.
Oh no. Shit, that should have been a hot take of the year, the way not Justin Jefferson, JJ McCarthy played the rest of the year.
I'd rather have JJ McCarthy be the quarterback in 2027, Jay, but out of these 3, Kyler, Prescott, or Mayfield, I'd probably go Mayfield. Then Prescott, then Kyler. All right, what do you got, Cody?
So last week, I said Damon Claiborne was going to get some starter snaps. Some events have unfolded during training camp, and I'm going with he doesn't make the 53-man roster now. Yeah, he might. I'm gonna say he's going to be practice squad, and that's where he's going to sit until an injury or they call him up late in the season. It's been a rough training camp for Damon Claiborne. We talked about our draft picks earlier. It's been pretty rough. Yeah, if you guys like the replacements, think Orlando Brown, the actor, the all speed, no skill. All right, the all speed, no hands. Kevin White, that kind of guy. It's been a rough off season for him. He's dropping a lot of balls. I don't think he makes the 53-man roster. I think he makes the practice squad instead. I have to go back on my take.
Damn, Cody hedging 7 days later.
I got it. It's been rough. Every time I open my mouth about something good, something terrible happens. So I just got to quit doing it.
Yeah, shut your mouth.
Do the opposite thing, man. Do what Fish does. Go opposite.
All right, I'm gonna go with this. At the end of the year, we always do our end of the year awards, and I'm gonna say this: when we do our Minnesota Viking Rookie of the Year, it's gonna be Jake Gould Day.
Ooh,
I like that.
I think a lot of people are probably thinking Caleb Banks. A lot of people are probably thinking Demings. I think it's going to be Jake Gould Day. And I say we because I think he's going to be that good to where he wins our vote.
So there's no way we're going to be petty on that.
You're not, Jack, you don't even remember your own hot takes. I'm not worried about you remembering mine.
No worry. I remember all the good ones.
Go ahead, Rinaldi.
All right. I think with the new run scheme we've got and the way Jordan Mason has come into this camp lighter, it's a better fit for him. He's going to take over the RB1 running back spot, and he's going to end this season with 1,000 yards.
Ooh, 1,000-yard rusher from Jordan Mason. Okay.
I
hope
that.
so. I hope so, and I hope it's like not 1,010 yards. Like I hope he has like a 1,300-yard season, like and like shows like he's a running back that the Vikings should bring back.
He's the guy.
I would like to see that. I would like to see
the guy
that.
we thought we were getting, and I think he's going to be that.
If you're watching this on YouTube and you are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us a great deal. Also, please hit that like button. We do go live every Thursday and after every Vikings game, and we will be going live after every preseason game, just like the regular season. We will probably be live during the preseason games, to be honest. So hit that subscribe button and hang out with us. It's a lot of fun seeing you guys in the comments. And many of you know that Fish is missing today. He did have a little bit of a health thing, but he is on the mend. He's doing better. He's at home. He's resting. So he does appreciate all the, nice comments in there. He will be back next week. Rinaldi, we do appreciate you stepping in, man, like a champ. You're not Temu Fish, man. You guys are like brothers. You're Fish with hair.
Fish with hair. Wow.
All right, so with that, let's go ahead and do our final words. What do you got, Shaq?
So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Let's Go Podcast. It's officially the end of the off season with preseason starting next week for us against the New York Giants. Hopefully I should be in attendance with my family at that game at MetLife Stadium. I will say, if you're a fan of the show and you want to support us, you can send donations our way by sending money on Cash App by typing in $ Let's Go, or by clicking the $ on YouTube and sending a donation that way. You don't have to, but we appreciate any donations sent our way. I'd like to also give a shout out to Mr. Rinaldi for doing a great article on the Let's Go website. Him and Mr. Cody Bowden, we're trying to grow the Let's Go website. So if you're feeling like a writer, or if you want to write something for your favorite team, you can hit up Keith and we could go from there.
All right.
Love it.
Rinaldi, what do you got?
Thanks for letting me on, guys. It was a pleasure as always. Always fun to hang out with you guys, your brothers, and I appreciate you guys doing that. Fish, I hope you're feeling better. I'm sure you're watching, babe. Take care of yourself. I know you'll be back next week, better than ever, and we're all rooting for you to do that. Shaq, if you're going to the game next week, we got to get a beer together, bro.
Hey,
I gotta be down there, man. I gotta go to that. So let me DM me, brother. And
I got you.
And look, man, this is I'll say the Fish words because I am Temu Fish. This is by Vikings fans for Vikings fans, and you guys have been doing a bang up job, man. So way to go. Let's go.
The Italian stallion. Oh, I'm going old school. Talk about Facebook.
What do you got, Cody?
Hey, again, thank you guys for listening to us. And that being said, since you do listen to us, we can also listen to y'all. So if you're having some trouble over the net, just hit one of us up. I'm sure we will respond, talk you through some things if that need to be. And also, tomorrow's Friday. Weekends around that corner. Have a plan. Be safe out there if you are going out. And other than that, always, let's go.
All right, that's our show. We'll be back next Thursday. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but not the quarterbacks. We'll think of something. We're not going to talk about the quarterbacks unless something major happens.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll see you guys next Thursday. Fish, get well. We miss you. Talk to you. Let's Skol.
Let's go.
Let's go! For Viking fans, Minnesota Vikings.